Afternoon. Welcome back to the Jason Gregor Show on Sports 1440 Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. As always, we're happy that you are along for the ride this afternoon. There's lots and lots to discuss on the show. We will have Shane Malloy, longtime hockey scout, joining us. We're going to go in depth into scouting, some of the science behind it, some of the psychology when it comes to young players, and why too often many people prematurely judge prospects because they don't have instant success in the National Hockey League. So when is a fair time to start evaluating players who are it's longer than you think. It truly is. It's why the NHL draft, there's very little instant feedback. Now, the NFL, it's 100% instant feedback. You draft the players in April, and guess what? Doesn't matter. You're first rounder, fifth rounder, seventh rounder. You're in camp, and in a lot of cases, you're competing for jobs. The NHL, very, very different. 99% of the players aren't in the league the first year after their draft. Right? 90% of them aren't there the second year after the draft. It's a long play for sure. So we'll talk about that. Kevin Kurz will join us. The Philadelphia Flyers with a huge contract signing today. Perfect timing. We had Kev lined up as we were going around the NHL, and boom, they announced that Travis Konechny, 8-year extension at $8.75 million. Two-time 30-goal scorer. Produces on the power play, produces on the penalty kill. Aggressive player. It's great, but that is a lot of money. Right? That $8.75 million. It's one of the largest contracts in Philadelphia Flyers history. And when you, this is one that to me is going to be, it's different. It's difficult for him to live up to. He's never had 70 points in his career. Now he's had back-to-back 30-goal seasons the last 2 years for the Flyers, 61 points, 68 points, right? Career best. So he's coming off his 2 best years of his career. But that's a pretty big jump. Pretty big jump. So we will talk about that. Also, we'll have TR will be by. We'll hear from Miles Dicker talking about the Olympics. Officially got going yesterday. Canada's taking on New Zealand. Their head coach isn't there. Do you even call it drone gate? I don't know, but dumb drone might be a better hashtag for it. I really don't understand what they thought they were going to gain from that situation. Why they even felt it was necessary, number one. It reeks to me of insecurity, nothing more. Be confident in your team. Be confident in your team. You've seen film. You have lots of film. You think the drone film was going to give you better footage than what you've seen in actual games? Like, I don't understand what they were trying to accomplish in that one. Spec will be by. We'll also have a member of the Elks as they are back in action Sunday against the Hamilton Tiger Cats. Still looking for that elusive first win of the season. It is the Gregor Show, as always, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. It's the Daily Grand. Ooh, I love it. $1,000 a day for 20 years. A cool 7.2 mil. Get your tickets at PlayAlberta.ca. I'm Jason Gregor. Of course, Declan Kruger is along for the ride this afternoon. The con man, he'll be back next week. He need a little extra time to wrap his head around what's going to be another disappointing season for his Chargers. That's why he needed 2 weeks off. He said he just needed a little extra time to really wrap his head around it. It's going to be tough. Like they had a quarterback they thought they were going to be good. What the hell's happened? So, Deck, what's happened with the Chargers? Are they even going to be like a 500 team this year?
I think they will be. There's two paths for the Chargers this year. They'll either be 5-12, and it will be very evident very early they're a 5-12 team, and it will be disappointment from about week 4 on. Or they'll be 9-8, still miss the playoffs, but their fans will have a little bit of hope they can cling on to until the last week of the season, and then just be erroneously let down. So those are the two paths for the Chargers. Connor knows that. Listen, he's in bed. He's scratching his head. He's well aware of that. But that's what Chargers fans have to look forward to this year.
As always, you can text us 833-401-1440. 833-401-1440. As we mentioned, the official opening ceremonies of the Olympics are tomorrow, but you have games. We had some of the men's games last night in soccer. You got the women's game today. Some other prelim events going on. I'm looking forward to it. So we've asked this question before, but I'm curious for you. What is your one guaranteed event that you want to watch at the Olympics? I think the most popular event is the 100 meters. It's quick, it's short, it's exciting. Like, oh my God, it is power and everything all wrapped in one in basically 10 seconds. So it's awesome to watch. I love it. We'd asked a question on Tuesday, which was the most difficult event, most difficult thing in pro sports. With TR today, is going to come up. What do you think is the easiest thing to do in pro sports? Which, of course, there's nothing easy. But I'd be curious the answers to this one before TR comes on at 3:00. I still disagree with him about the returning a serve in tennis. Thought he could do it. I'm like, crazy. Nah, I don't think so. But what would you be deemed the easiest? And I'm not talking coaching where you can say, hey, you can just stand behind the bench. No, that's not what we're talking. We're talking any of the athletic endeavors. Which one do you think is, and I put it in quotations, the easiest? I'll be curious about, because I think this response will vary depending on what your own athletic background is. We'll see. So now I'll try to put some context to it, because, when we say, well, you could, anybody, well, not it, most people can run. Sure. So you could say, in theory, you could argue that the 100 meters might be the easiest. It's the shortest distance. But what if we put like a bar you would have to meet as far as the time? Then it would be a little bit different. So, but 100 meter in theory would be the easiest one to run. It's the shortest distance. You might not do it super fast, but if you're able-bodied, you could do it. Heck, obviously there's at the Paralympics, there's people that sprint all the time, right? That aren't full body, and they do awesome. They run faster than 99% of us too. So we'll get to that as well. I'm kind of curious what some of the responses will be to that. We do have lots of text still coming in. Hey guys, without question, the answer is bowling from Mike. Well, you know what? Something there. How many of you have had a strike, maybe after 6 gutter balls, but you still found a way to get a strike? So yeah, I could see that one. It'll get some votes for sure. Could see. Guys, 40-yard dash in the NFL Combine. Well, it's even shorter than 100 meter. You're right. You're running solo. It's not as many people watching. It's a shorter distance. But what would be a time bar for that? Like, it's crazy. You see the O linemen, and they're running in 5 and sometimes under 5. Like the 300 pounds. That is fast. I wonder what an average human 40 meter would be, or 40 yards, I should say. Curious about that. Like, would it be 6.5? Or is that even too fast? Deck, what do you think it'd be?
I was thinking about this. Like, I think, like maybe 6'2", or maybe just.
Do you think the average would be 6'2"?
Yeah, like it's not that tough. Like, it is tough to do it fast, obviously. Yeah. But I think the average it's such a short sprint. You have to put so little into it. I think the average person could get it in like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4".
Okay.
My best ever time back in high school was 4'9", which is pretty slow for a football player, but I was happy with it.
4'9". 6'2". I've never done the obviously I ran 100 meters, but fastest I think I ever got was like 12.2. So, but I don't know what the 40-yard would be. I'd be curious. Somebody out there. So Dex was 4'9", but you were playing football and you were 4'9".
I was, yes.
So when I go the average person, I still think 6'2" is too fast. for the average person. I really do. Because you got to think average.
No, you might be right. The very first Google results I had was 6 to 8 seconds for the average person.
Yeah, well, that 2 seconds,
which is a wide range.
Really wide range. Yes. Yeah, like a wide range when you consider it's only 40 yards. And how much different, like you look when Usain Bolt, like watch a 100-meter dash when Usain Bolt wins the race and look how many strides, now granted they're going faster, but look how many strides sometimes third and fourth place is, and they end up like 2-3 100ths of a second behind him. And there's still multiple strides. So we're talking 2 seconds in 40 yards. That could be a big difference. Big difference. So we'll see this one. Hey guys, I could be a professional dart player, drink beer, throw a dart, wouldn't the fail. Yeah. But by the way, that's still on the top of my list of sporting events I want to go to live. It looks like so much fun. You watch it on TV, the crowd's right into it. 140, and they're just going crazy. And you're like this is kind of an easy game to be a spectator at, right? You see the person, they stand up. You see the dart goes in the board. Oh, all right. You got a triple 20. Oh, a double and only a 19. Oh, what does he need to win? Like it's, I guess you got to know math. But other than that, pretty straightforward. You're not going back and forth and moving up and down, right? Not super fast. But everybody seems to have a lot of fun. Like I watch it on TV and I'm like, God, it's a party. I want to be there. So. Hey, Gregor, Alexandra Palace in London. Bucket list for the World Championships from Jordo. Now, see, Jordo's done his research. I respect that. Alexandra Palace. See, I didn't even know where they hosted him. I have no idea. But I was like, if I ever go, I would think, I would by then I would do some research. You'd have to plan it. But here's my question. So the World Championships, like, is that the place to go for darts? Or is there another place? I'd be very curious. Guys, Eddie Steele did it in what, 4.2 seconds? No. Eddie might be quick. And Ed Hervey, who was like world-class sprinter. Remember Addo Bolden, they were at USC together, and he's like, Ed should have stayed in the 200-meter. He was that fast. I think Ed told us his quickest was 4.18, 4.2 maybe. So, yeah. We'll get a hold of Eddie, but Eddie ain't doing the 40 and 4.2. I know he's a good athlete, but I don't think he's that good. I don't think he's that quick. Like 4.2 is lightning fast. Like what's Tariq? What does Hill do it in?
Well, the fastest time ever at the NFL Combine was 4.21 Xavier Worthy this past season.
This year, this fast. Okay, well then, Ed might have even been like 4.28 then. I know it's quick though. So yeah, Eddie Steele ain't doing it in 4. Like, but I wonder if Eddie broke 5. Like, and that's not slow, right? Like, super fast to even be in 5. So, we'll see. So, we got a lot of text. We'll get to that. I'm very curious what TR's answer is going to be. Easiest thing to do in professional sports. Gregor, isn't it golf? Well, I guess because are we setting the line at like, is it just swinging the club and you don't care where the ball goes? Well, then, okay, sure. But we could do that for anything. Right? Hey, I'm on the football field. I don't have to catch the ball. So, no, I like golf's pretty hard. Now, is it a sport? We'll debate that. But, yeah, we'll see. You know what's really difficult? Drafting, projecting the majority. There are obviously exceptions to the rule. Connor McDavid's, Austin Matthews, Sidney Crosby's. There's some exceptions. But drafting 17-year-olds, the odd 18-year-old who has a late birthday, and projecting on where you think they're going to be. And when should you really start to evaluate where they're at post-draft? We'll find out next. Shane Malloy joins us on the Jason Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Actions speak louder than words. Japa Machinery Group puts your construction plan into action with XCMG construction machinery you need. Available for rental or sale. Learn more at japamachinery.com.
Hey, it's Brad McCory here from St. Albert Dodge. I'm here to say you do not want to miss our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks. It really is your last chance to drive a brand new Ram truck off the lot with 25% off. When these are gone, they're gone. Or how about a Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 in savings and 0% financing on every model? Come see how we earn our industry-leading 4.6 Google review rating. You're going to love how easy it is to do business at St. Albert Dodge.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
Rule number 62, never miss a free pancake breakfast. It's unheard of and frankly a little upsetting. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedork from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. What you might not know is that I started practicing physio here in Leduc more than 23 years ago. In those years since, I haven't forgotten the kind and welcoming people that trusted me then. It feels great to be back, but I know we have to live up to our promise, and that's to live up to our name. This means bringing a leading edge focus on our environments, technology, communities, and the people who will care for you, like Graham Raymond and Amanda McIsaac, two locals who want to make a difference in your life. We're now open in Leduc. Learn more about us at leadingedgephysio.com.
Hi, Dennis from Weiss Johnson. Everyone loves summer, but it's hard to enjoy fun in the sun when you're exhausted. Tossing and turning all night long, one can't sleep when you overheat. So cool things down with a new Goodman air conditioner, installed by the pros from Weiss Johnson. Your family will enjoy comfortable slumbers for years to come with a Goodman air conditioner in your home. Weiss Johnson, serving Edmonton and area since 1977. Visit wjcools.com today.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks invite you to the last Friday night party of the summer this Friday, July 26th. We're giving away 1,000 bobbleheads. Which player will you get? Come to the game and find out. Get your ticket to fun and watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca. Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit edmontonexpocenter.com today.
Some people see their RV as a way to travel the countryside and explore the great outdoors. For others, it's more like a summer cottage. Sure, it's got wheels, but that doesn't mean that you have to roll it around all the time. And I know someone who uses his RV exactly like this. It's Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Hey Rick, when was the last time you hooked up your trailer and took it somewhere?
Been years, Bob.
You just leave it in one place?
Well, you have to see our campsite. It's near Seba Beach. There's lots of privacy. It's a heavily wooded area, but very close to the lake, with full water and electrical hookup. So my wife, Deanna, and I enjoy cottage life with all its beauty and all the comforts of home.
And the RV you use as a cottage, did you buy it new?
Bob, what are you, nuts? I can happily find you an RV as nice as mine. Got dozens of them on the lot right now. And Deanna and I are living proof that you don't have to pay new RV prices to live the dream.
And that's No Bull.
NobleRV.ca.
Afternoon sports 1440 Orders Nation YouTube and Facebook. Hope you're having yourselves an awesome Thursday. Had a little rain. Hopefully we get a lot more. Our thoughts, of course, going out to everybody in Jasper, all those affected by it. Just some brutal images to see the videos of all the devastation from the fire, and I'm sure those who lived through Fort McMurray probably brings back some tough memories for them as well. And I think Fort McMurray is a great example of strength and perseverance, and hopefully the same thing happens for many in Jasper. And it's a awful situation, man. Mother Nature is undefeated when they start to rain. Like I was watching last night, and the fire was so hot that it was leading to like lightning strikes coming from the fire itself, which is and that happened. That had actually happened in Fort McMurray. And it was leading to lightning strikes into to the Hinton area. So it's a crazy time. So hopefully everybody got out. And I guess the rebuild and the just trying to figure out what's next starts, and it's going to be a long road, and hopefully there's a lot of support. I know there's places on our website and different places if you want to donate to help out all those affected, because they're going to need a lot of help for certain here moving forward. I know there's places that have opened up their doors to restaurants, to food, and many different things, which is fantastic and not surprising with the great giving and caring spirit that so many people have here in the province of Alberta. Let's go around the NHL now, brought to you by McDonald's. And you need to pick me up some days at a time where everything's getting more expensive. Well, they've reduced their price. all coffees now are cheaper, starting at $1 with their small. So their premium roast coffee, only $1 right now at McDonald's. And I'm excited for our next guest on the show. We've been looking to get this done for a while. He has spent over the last over 2 decades when it comes to scouting in hockey. Of course, he has his MBA in hockey management. He's an author, The Art of Scouting, and has a show on SiriusXM. Shane Malloy joins us. Shane, welcome to the show, my man. How you doing?
Doing great, sir. And I follow your sentiments about the terrible fires that are going on in Alberta. My family grew up in Catamount, just in between Jasper and Hinton. So at this time, we don't even know if the family cabin is still in one piece. And I'm crossing my fingers that everybody in the Lusker and Catamount range are safe, because Mother Nature, when it rears its ugly head, there's not really much we can really do about it.
No, it's very strong and powerful. And Shane, I wanted to get you on. You've been scouting now for over 2 decades. You've written a lot on it. You've got your MBA on it. You've dabbled into the psychology and the science. Like there's so much more to it than just saying, "Hey, look at this guy. He's got good hockey sense or a wrist shot," right? Like there's so much more that goes into it. You kind of have I think you came up with the 200 games 5+ years after the fact. Like I do find, and it happened even here in Edmonton, earlier in the spring, where people were saying how, oh geez, Broberg and Holloway, they've been busts already. Oh, they're not that good. And I'm like, they're not even 5 years from their draft year just yet, right? Like I don't even know if you can make an assessment on players that early. Like I would argue, in most cases, it's not until 7 years after the draft.
Actually, that's a great point. It is primarily as I go through my research, and I've done this since 2006, of looking back. And generally, I don't start assessing a draft class till 5 years, just starting to assess it. And it really doesn't unfold for 7 to 8 years. Like I just did an update from 06 to 15, the first 10 years of the salary cap era. And there were some players that actually jumped that 200 game played mark last year. So it actually bumped a couple teams up in terms of their overall efficiency. And that's really about quality over quantity and quality. So, I really had to look at that first. The quantity is the first study, and then we get into quality, which is an entirely different set of metrics. But you're 100% right. And one of the main reasons why it takes so long, particularly because we're male, the male human brain and its frontal lobe, this higher decision-making, reasoning, really doesn't finish developing until you're about 23, 24. So this is why car insurance companies drop their rates at 25. We're basically, before the age of 25, we're hairless monkeys. I remember what I was like when I was 20 years old. You shouldn't let me behind a car or make any rational decisions whatsoever. So if we expect a young prospect who's 20, 21, 22 years of age to be able to be a full-fledged adult and make really rational decisions consistently on and off the ice, we're asking a lot. And there's a lot of support around them, and there's a lot of people are trying to help them meet their goal, but it's a challenging aspect. And that's where cognitive performance really is something that teams need to delve into more efficiently, just to understand the rigors that these players have to go through.
So you mentioned the psychology factor in that. How many teams are going that in depth in their scouting?
From my understanding, very few at this stage. It requires resources and a willingness to open up the budget. And it's one of the things that I look at. We had that age of analytics came in around the summer of 2014. But I think the next stage of evolution really is to make a research and development department inside your hockey ops department, and have a group of people have diversity in terms of their different disciplines that they're successful in. So you want somebody who understands, performance psychology, and you could have somebody who is adept at business, and someone else who is adept at analytics, and have a group of people, and their job is to solve the problems in the hockey operations department and do research. So you can take all the quantitative and qualitative data, integrate it, and be able to give that to the directors and the AGMs and the GM, so they can make more informed decisions. And the data is there. It's just there to help them make better decisions. So the data informs their decision making, and decision making is a difficult process of life. Most of the time we go through life on autopilot, but to sit down and think and make better decisions and more efficiently, that requires effort and it requires systems and processes in place. So I think that's the next stage for NHL teams, because I treat NHL teams as Fortune 500 companies. They're billion-dollar companies. So I don't see why they shouldn't be treated the same way. And the general manager is simply just a CEO of an operations department.
Shane Malloy joins us. We're talking scouting, the art of scouting, and so much that goes into it. And really, you mentioned that you've been tracking the results since 2006, but you've been scouting for over 2 decades, Shane. And, the game has changed. The players have changed. How much has scouting changed in the last 2 decades in your eyes?
Actually, dramatically in terms of the allowing video to come in. I think that's one of the biggest things. You still need boots on the ground because you need to understand context and nuance. If you strictly scouted by video and used analytics, I think you're setting yourself up for failure, because you need to be able to take all these different data points, and video is useful. I use it every day. Analytics and statistics are useful. I use it every day, but it's simply a tool. You still need to have boots on the ground to see what's really going on, because the camera angles, even when I use Huddle Instat, it has some really valuable tools and I use it and it makes my job that much easier, but the camera only shows you so much. And so you have to backfill, and you can only backfill so much if you don't see live games. So boots on the ground matter, but how you combine all those different data points together and then how do you weight that really matters in that respect. And how do you weight the different skill sets of the players? And then how do you assess their mental and emotional attributes? Because some people are stronger in certain areas, and that makes them more adept to be an NHL player. So you could have, stronger mental attributes in certain areas, but it doesn't necessarily always translate to playing on the ice. So that type of assessment, I think, needs to be done as early as possible in players, especially going into the draft year, because you're making $1 million decisions. And if that assessment isn't clear, then you're having to look at it in player development and try to backtrack and make up for perhaps some mistakes you made. And I give the amateur scouts a lot of credit. It is the toughest job in hockey. Forget being a GM, forget being a player. It's all about the amateur scouts. That you're trying to project a 17, 18-year-old kid into a 23, 24-year-old man. I have 2 boys at home, Jason. I have no idea what they're going to be, and I'm their dad.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's challenging, and I'll be honest, I'm surprised in some instances that some of the simplest questions don't get asked a lot. Like when you're going through the process of looking at players, and I know that some of them are like, well, we look at the size of their hands and the size of their feet because we think that'll grow, but that doesn't include a strength component by any stretch of imagination. And DNA and genetics in a family matter. It's a simple fact. And there are some people that are late developers. They don't really get their strength until they're 21, 22, 23. So at 17 and 18, you know what? They're not necessarily going to have it. Whereas others, they've peaked, right? That's probably the hardest one to tell, is the athlete who's kind of peaked, Shane, somewhat at 17 or 18, right? And I know a simple question is asking, going around, so, hey, Dad, when did you fill out, right? Because doesn't mean it's always going to be the same for their son, but there's at least you have a better guideline than never even asking. And I know that question doesn't get asked very often.
And that's true. I mean, we look at Sam Bennett as an example. Couldn't do one pull-up, as skinny as a rail going into his combine. I was there talking to him about that, and look at him this year. What you really need to understand in terms of the physical component is, are there any issues in terms of their spinal column, into their hips, into their knees and their joints? Are there any issues that are going to rear its ugly head? How does their body function? How athletic they are? Because that helps you understand the physical base from what you have to work with. And then as well, I think the psychological component is even more important in that. You need to understand how these players learn, how they think at this time, where the strengths and weaknesses lie in terms of their mental and emotional attributes. How well do they handle stress? from that standpoint, because that when I start looking at statistics, one of the things I do is I look at the statistics from when a player plays in the most difficult situations. So
Okay.
back-to-back nights, 3 and 4 nights on the road, they're dead tired, and can they make good decisions and good choices? Because decisions and choices are not exactly the same thing. You may think they are. A good decision would be you're a defenseman, you come around the net, you pick up your puck, you look, you find your first option. First option is usually your best. You move that puck. That's a good decision. A choice is where it's going to affect you physically, mentally, and emotionally. You're going to take pain for that choice. So that's you stepping in front of a blast from the point and blocking a shot. That's you going in the corner knowing you're going to get hit to make a play. You're in a retrieval and you're going to get pounded and you got to hold that puck. Those are choices that the players have to make. And if you want to be successful, you want to get through that talent pool of the Western Hockey League, then again to the American Hockey League, and then again to the NHL. It's the players that are willing to make those choices more consistently. You find are the ones that go on to the NHL, and you can see that even at an early age. And I use Sam Bennett as an example. He was willing to make those type of choices and sacrifice himself for the betterment of the team. When you continue to do that, yeah, you take a physical punishment, but that also makes you more likely to be an NHL player.
Shane Malloy joins us. We're talking the art of drafting, which is a very difficult one. You mentioned some teams, and really it's the team, but a lot of it's the director of amateur scouting, because in most good functional organizations, they're the ones that have the final say at the draft table, as they should. They're the ones who see them the most. They obviously consult. It's not like one scout does everything, but he consults with all their scouts. They have meetings all year long. And I think the most successful organizations, the GM allows his director of amateur scouting to really have the final say on things. Are there there's some who are your guys out there that you think don't get enough credit for being as good as they are come draft day?
Well, I think some of the names that jump out to me, particularly this one, your listeners may not know, is Jay Heinbuch. So he's a scout currently for the Pittsburgh Penguins, but from 2006 to 2015, he was their director of amateur scouting. And during that time, the Pittsburgh Penguins were the most efficient team to get players to play more than 200 games in the NHL, or as a goalie, 100 games. So at that time, they had traded a lot of picks because that was in their wheelhouse when they were winning. They only had 59 draft picks, but 24 of them went on to play more than 200 games. That's a 40.67% efficiency clip. That's number one in the league at that time. So Jay Heinbuch, gets a lot of credit for that, and of course his staff and the player development department. And that's where Tom Fitzgerald was in that department. So was Bill Guerin at that time. So player development matters in that as well. I would say Mark Yannetti, and then as well as Mike Fuda, and Mark Yannetti still in Los Angeles. They're another team. They were at a 37% clip of efficiency. They may have another player that hits that clip coming up in next year. And that means 30 players in 10 years that have got to the NHL to play more than 200 games. 30, which really is impressive. And then I'd have to mention, obviously, Martin Madden in Anaheim. They've done a fantastic job there, as he's the director of amateur scouting in their AGM. Ross Mahoney in Washington with the Capitals.
Yeah.
Him and his staff have done a fantastic job. And one that may surprise you and your listeners, it's actually the Toronto Maple Leafs. They were the fourth most efficient team from 2006 to 2015, and that was run by Dave Morrison. And then he left the amateur side and went to the pro. But during that time, they got 26 players to play. They were 37% in efficiency in that time frame and 70 draft picks. So, impressive work, because the league average is about 28% of the time. But and it doesn't seem like a lot. The difference between, say, 35% or 37% and 28%, but that's 7 or 8% over a span of 10 years could be 5 or 6 players. That's 5 or 6 more players into the NHL that you drafted and developed, that you don't have to go and trade for, that you don't have to get in free agency, you don't have to pay assets for, and that's a huge amount.
Oh, massive. And then, where does Al Murray in Tampa? Because he's got to be up there. Maybe he doesn't have the same number of quantity, but he's got to have the
quality is really high.
Yeah,
they made up for. Yeah, their quantity. They got 19 players in 10 years, and he had 20, I think it was about 27%, so he's a little bit below average, but their quality was great. Like they hit some dingers. Like Braden Point in the third round, that's a grand slam home run. And getting players, Kucherov late in that respect. Those were guys that really jumped out to me. Of course, they had some really top-end players like Hedman and Stamkos, but they hit some really big ones too. Like Alex Killorn was an excellent pick as well, and that was a later pick.
Andre Palat, 7th rounder, pretty 100%.
Sure. That's another great pick because as you look, once you get past 22 in the draft, the probability of a player playing 200 games starts to drop like a rock. I mean, it plummets. Like, I'll tell you how crazy it is for late round picks. The 4th to 7th rounds, the likelihood of getting a player is you're looking at about a 14 to 15% chance of getting a player. There's only 17.8 players per draft from the 4th to 7th rounds that'll play 200 games. That's just over half a player per team. That's it. Like, when it's basically, you might as well blindly throw a dart at a dartboard at that point. And it even drops in the 3rd round. The 3rd round is not very good as well. Like, I looked through my numbers, and it's a less than 25% chance of getting a player in the 3rd round. 7.4 players on average per draft play 200 games or more. That's it.
Yeah.
So
I know.
when these scouting departments and these teams hit in the 3rd rounds and later, those are home runs for general managers. Like, they should get a lot of praise for that.
Shane Malloy, Jenna Shane, we're going to take a quick break, and I want to come back and dive in a little bit more to the scouting and what you've learned, and some teams that have obviously hit some home runs, others that haven't, and kind of the new changes coming up, and even in the psychology next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
In 1973, deep in the basement of an Edmonton family home, an elite team of specialized forces came together to form Action Electrical.
Action Electrical Divisions, assemble.
Projects team reporting.
Service team reporting.
Testing team reporting.
Energy team reporting.
Supercharged with skills in their electrical fields and grounded by strong family values. Facing an electrical menace? Call on the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
What a season. What a ride. Congratulations on an incredible season from GS Construction. Whether you're a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man or woman, or water and sewer foreman, GS Construction has room for you on their team. GS Construction, celebrating 50 years of laying the groundwork of Edmonton and communities throughout Alberta. Let's get to work. Get started today at gsconstruction.ca.
Experience more at the Edmonton Expo Center. Come for Canada's largest trade show, the biggest names in entertainment, exhilarating sporting events, and more. Stay for the experience. But it doesn't end there. Maximize your brand exposure with Edmonton Expo Center's new cutting-edge feature screens, spanning Western Canada's largest venue space. Captivate an annual audience of over 1 million visitors during iconic events like Pro Rodeo, Disney on Ice, Glow, K-Days, and so much more. To learn more, call 780-660-0514 or visit EdmontonExpoCenter.com today.
I'm Colin Livingston, president of Cantork. Since 2016, we've been at the forefront of hydraulic torque wrenches in Canada. I'm delighted to share our latest venture, in-house production for quicker turnaround, superior quality, and heightened versatility. Experience excellence at Cantork.com.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Why tee off at the Ranch Golf and Country Club?
A fun, unique layout offering premier conditions. The Ranch has been ranked as one of the top public courses in Canada.
Unmatched value. Score Golf Magazine rated the Ranch as the best value in Edmonton.
The service, from tournaments to special events to the pro shop. Superior service that makes every visit exceptional.
The Ranch Golf and Country Club, a laid-back environment where anyone can enjoy an amazing day on the fairways. For details, visit theranchgolf.com.
Hey Leduc, it's me, Grant Fedoruk from Leading Edge Physiotherapy. What you might not know is that I started practicing physio here in Leduc more than 23 years ago. In those years since, I haven't forgotten the kind and welcoming people that trusted me then. Feels great to be back, But I know we have to live up to our promise, and that's to live up to our name. This means bringing a leading edge focus on our environments, technology, communities, and the people who will care for you, like Graham Raymond and Amanda McIsaac, two locals who want to make a difference in your life. We're now open in Leduc. Learn more about us at leadingedgephysio.com.
The Junior Prospects Hockey League is entering its third season of gameplay. The JPHL now offers academic and athletic opportunities in the 14U, 15, 17, and 18U age divisions. All JPHL games are broadcast live on Silent Ice TV with a showcase-style game schedule and high level of travel and accommodations for its team, staff, and players. To learn more about why the JPHL is the fastest-growing elite hockey academy stream in Western Canada, visit juniorprospectshockeyleague.com.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Hitter day, the second one for the Padres. Woo, Dex can update you on that coming up in the top of the hour. So it's always exciting to see as we continue talking scouting with Shane Malloy, of course, who's written books about this. He's got his MBA in scouting, has focused on it for over a few decades. We've looked at some teams and some guys who have had success. We talked about kind of the psychology of a choice and a decision of players, you know, the physicality of it. And Shane, what about and this one might be the hardest one to look for, is because, you know, you're drafting the players and the vast majority of them are the best player on their team or the top 2 or 3 players on their team, you know, that they've been used to big minutes their whole careers up to that point. Then when you go to the NHL level, the pyramid is still like, they're not at the peak when they're drafted, right? They're still going up in the pyramid. And now some players have to be like, well, I've gone 15 games without a goal. I've gone 20 games without a goal because now I'm a third line player because I'm just not good enough to be a first or second line player in the NHL. Is there a way to scout those who you think are better suited to handle that type of adversity and change and really have to alter who they are as a player?
Yeah, you look for attributes in players and the way they play. So Sam O'Reilly actually is a perfect example of that. When you're looking at him as a player, he'll have versatility around the lineup. So you can play him in the middle of the ice, on a wing, on a third line. You can penalty kill. You might be able to get him up to a second unit power play. He has enough versatility already in his game that he has some adaptability. There are players that you watch them, and I'll use, like, say, Sven Barchi is a perfect example, who was drafted out of the Calgary Flames, and you watch him as a player and you're like, okay, if he makes it, he's going to have to play in a second line as a winger, because I don't think he doesn't have a plan B or a plan C in his arsenal. So he's a one-trick pony, and if he doesn't make it there, then he's not going to play there long term or play at all. And so you got to be very careful about looking at the players that are one-dimensional. So you try to make sure that when you're watching a player, does he have some versatility in his game? Can he do a bunch of different things? Can you put him on in different situations? Because that type of versatility, that Swiss Army knife aspect of a player, becomes more valuable as the talent pool compresses from junior to the American League and then again to the NHL. If you watch the American League, it's amazing if you look at a roster. Oh, that guy was the best player on his CHL team. That guy was an all-star at the U20s. That guy was a top player in his European pro team. But every player across the roster was like that. Now, who compresses again, and who are the 3 or 4 or 5 players that can push themselves into the NHL?
Yeah, and you can watch for certain things. What about hockey sense? What's your best way to analyze hockey sense, to think that a player, because as the game gets faster, are you able to make the decisions in a quicker period of time?
Certainly, and there's different types of processing that human beings have. There's the adaptive processing. Those are the players who can handle chaos. When things completely go erratic, they find ways to be productive. And there's other players who are more adept at set processing. So they need to be in a structured system. And if they are where they're supposed to be, they can map out the game. Now, there are the very few elite players, Sidney Crosby's, Connor McDavid's, Wayne Gretzky's of the world, who are elite at adaptive and set processing. Those players are very rare. They're the ones who jump into the NHL right away and seem to adapt and be able to find a way to be productive. And it's the other players that have to really lean on that type of processing. So I try to watch for that as early as I possibly can. So I'll go and watch, U17 championships and get a book on the players early as I can, so then I can start to build that. So every year I'm adding upon the scouting report and not writing a whole new one. And then it allows me to evaluate them and see if there is improvements upon the different types of skill sets or their mental, emotional processing that they have, and try to find some kind of inkling of understanding of what they're going to be and how they handle stressful situations, which is why I love seeing players play on the road when they're dog tired. Because can you still mentally and emotionally bring it, even if you have nothing in the gas tank physically?
That's interesting. I like that look at it. One other one is we've seen more players who aren't getting drafted through their first year of eligibility, because we see a lot of 18 and 19-year-olds who are passed over. And passed over to me isn't a negative. I think teams are kind of recognizing, why would the odds are already low when we get past, as you mentioned, pick 22, right? And it drops off. I've done it. It's like 8%, 7% the later in the draft to get a guy who's going to play at least 200 games. And so why wouldn't you make an analysis on a player who you've had an extra year of junior or NCAA or Europe to watch for, right? I've made the argument the NHL draft should be a year later without question. You open up the top 5 spots for the freaks who are Connor McDavid's and others, who are 17 turning 18 in their draft year before September 15th, who could play, because there's usually only maybe 1 or 2 of them who actually even play in the NHL that year. But what's your thoughts on that extra year advantage? And if you were drafting later in the draft, would that almost be a prerequisite for you because it's such a wild card?
It certainly would be an addition. I think Jesse Pulkkinen this year is an example of a player that was passed over. And sometimes what happens is there's injuries, or they're a bigger player that plays on a pro team in Europe, and they don't get a lot of minutes and they don't get a lot of opportunity. And that's part of the equation too, is that's the challenge. NFL scouting, I think, is probably easy in comparison to hockey. We have all these different leagues in different countries, and different countries and different leagues develop players differently, and we're trying to mash them all into one list. So that's a tremendous challenge in that respect. And ideally, if it was my choice, I'd like to see the first round, you could be 18, 17, 18, and then round second and later it's 19. And just give the players another year to develop, and actually give the scouts another year to evaluate them, because it's the cycle happens so quickly. I'm going to be back in Edmonton in a week and a half, 10 days for the Ivan Holinka. And the cycle starts all over again for me. So much for my summer break. I got to get right back at it again. And so because the cycle's so quick, I just think the players really need that extra year. If it was me, if I could get away with it, I'd make it a 19-year-old draft all the way through. But, legally, I don't think we can get away with that.
Now, people were asking about the Oilers. I think I calculated they had 23 players, or 24 maybe, from your 2006 to 2015 reference of 200 games. Where would that rank if they were 23? Where's that?
They're actually 21 players out of 72 draft picks. They are 14th overall, and that gets them just above average. And although one of the things that was interesting, because I am doing shows in August specifically about this. I actually recorded Edmonton's segment today. And I think where their strengths lie, obviously, was the first round. They got 11 out of 12 players. Alex Plant was the only one who did make the mark. They did have 8 players that were top 10 picks. So that should be a foregone conclusion. They should get those guys. They did well in the second round. They got 4 out of 8 players, which at 50%, that's above average. Where things sort of dropped off for them is the third round. They had 10 picks and only got 1 player to play 200 games. And then in their fourth round, in the 4th to 7th rounds, they had 42 draft picks. 5 went on to play so far. So that's a little. You probably wanted 1 more player there. You probably wanted at least 1 more player, maybe 2 in the third round, and that would have pushed them closer into that. They would have been in the top 10 for sure. So in the future, if they hit, ideally, you're trying to hit 2 players a draft. If you can do that, you're in a great spot. Like it's just a much better opportunity for the general manager to be able to go out and build a team more successfully if you have a push from below. And I use like the Vancouver Canucks are a perfect example. When they were the top team for a couple of years in the NHL, that 2011, 2010 range, it was a great team, but their drafting was so poor that very quickly the bottom was going to fall out because there was no push from below. So you're forced to constantly make trades and constantly look for free agents and try to fill the gaps. And that's exceptionally hard to do. The only team I think who's done that really well was the Colorado Avalanche when they won their cup, because their drafting was, actually very quite inefficient. And then Florida recently, although their drafting has been pretty good, they've done a great job of going out and finding players off the scrap heap and turning them into players. So it's a balancing act. But if you don't draft well and develop well, it really puts the management group behind the 8 ball. So a lot of emphasis has to go on the draft. And I think the scouts deserve to be paid more. They should have better term and more support in terms of the budget they have to work with.
And Shane, I know there was a major event you guys had honoring lots of scouts earlier, that's coming up next Tuesday. It's a sold-out event. Give me a little heads up on what's coming up next Tuesday.
Well, it's the Western Canada Scouts Professionals Hockey Scouts Foundation, and it was started last year. A group of Western Scouts and Garth Malarchuk and Mike Penny and Ross Mahoney, Glenn Dirk, who now unfortunately has passed on, Ronnie Delorme, Scotty Bradley, Aaron Janelle, all got together, and what they wanted to do is be able to honor the scouts, and we couldn't do it across all of Canada and the States. It's just too daunting of a task. So they started on Western Canada, and they wanted to honor the scouts who have contributed back to the game and to their communities, but also help mentor the scouts. So they had called me a year ago and asked, Shane, could you mind helping us? I said, of course, because many of the scouts were my mentors. The first scouting mentors I had was actually Lauren Davies and Patty Janelle when I was living in Calgary. If it wasn't for those 2 gentlemen, I wouldn't have made it through my first 3 or 4 years. No way. Because I had no idea what I was doing. I was completely clueless. And then when I moved back to Vancouver, I had Glenn Dirk and Charlie Hodge. I sat between those guys. And it was like sitting between those 2 old guys in the Muppets. Great stories, funny gentlemen. And the whole purpose of the foundation is to honor the past, but then as well as contribute to charities currently in the present as well, and help communities and help different scouts that need help. And, if kids need equipment, we'll help with that as well. And then mentor the future scouts, because the only way future scouts get better is being mentored by the older scouts. So this year we're honoring 45 scouts. We're making up for lost time. And many of them are the pioneers of scouting, like Cecil Thompson, Danny Summers, Frank Curry, who had scouted for the Toronto Maple Leafs for 27 years, George Agar, Murray Torchy-Shell. And as well as we have a fantastic award, special recognition to Ace Bailey, who was a longtime scout for the Edmonton Oilers, as well as the LA Kings. And Mike Barnett put together had this beautiful award designed in recognition for Ace Bailey. So we're going to give it out this year. And we have early era scouts. So Barry Fraser is being honored this year. Barry Trapp is being honored this year. Kevin Pendergast from the Edmonton Oilers as well is being honored this year. So it's going to be a fantastic event. We're going to do a hot stove. We got 10 people from around the NHL. Ken Holland is going to be there. We have John Davidson coming in, Dr. Haley Wickenheiser, some funny people. in Archie Henderson, Al Tour, Mike Penny. They're hysterical. They're going to make a great hot stove, and it's a sold out event. We try to sell more than 400 tickets, and they went like super fast. So next year we're probably going to have to go into a bigger venue. We're going to have to move into the arena at Okotoks. So we're at Okotoks Arena. The city and the team have been fantastic to us, opening up their doors, and they built a whole video screen honoring these scouts. So they have bios for them. We're going to do videos for them. And the corporate sponsors came out of the woodwork for us. We were like so impressed and really thankful to all these corporate sponsors that came in. We got some great names that came out for us. So I've got Canadian, Air Canada came out and helped us out. Tim Hortons as well. Delta Hotels, Sheraton Hotels, Volvo. Volvo Cars Edmonton did some great stuff for us. The Calgary Flames alumni really made a big difference. There's a lot of NHL teams that helped us out. Pepsi, Boston Pizza, McDonald's as well. So we've been very fortunate. MSA Ford, Newport Sports Management, Octagon. So we're very lucky that people jumped on board to help us out. And we're really looking forward to the event. It's going to be fantastic. And I wish we had more tickets to sell. But, they went like hotcakes. So it's going to be, I'm flying in for it. It's going to be fantastic. And all the honorees have been made their own personalized Western belt buckle. They're
Nice.
Beautiful. So we have them up on our Twitter account and on our website as well. So it's hockeyscoutfoundation.com. And our Twitter handle is WC Pro Scouts. And they're beautiful. So each one of the honorees gets that. And I was fortunate and lucky. I got to call some of the people that were being honored, and I phoned people whose parents, like their dad, had passed away, and they're coming in to honor him. And they almost started to cry because they never thought their father would ever be honored in such a way. And I give credit to the people who started this foundation because they really want to make sure that these people were taken care of.
Awesome stuff. Shane, we'll see you at the Halinka very soon, man. Appreciate your time as always. Great stuff.
Thank you, Jason, very much for having me on. I appreciate letting me talk about the foundation.
I bet you. That's Shane Malloy. Of course, the Art of Scouting is his book. He's done a lot of in-depth analysis on it, looking at teams and individual amateur scouts. And we didn't get into it because we don't have time, but we'll get into it because he'll come in studio when he's here for the Halinka. One of the big ones is you can draft players really well. And then you see teams who draft them well. So he's only talking about the ones, because then we could get a whole conversation about, well, does your GM then trade away some of those guys? Some of the trades work out. A lot of cases, they don't. We'll come back. TR will join us next after Declan Cougar and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Summer will be a blast with the return of the fan favorite watermelon explosion. Download the Booster Reward app today and order one only at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, we start in the MLB with a piece of history as Dylan Cease has joined Joe Musgrove as the only pitchers in San Diego Padres history with a no-hitter. Cease did it earlier today facing the Washington Nationals, and of course, 9 innings pitched. He had 9 strikeouts and only 3 balls en route to a 3-0 Padres victory. Other scores around the MLB from today was the Orioles over the Marlins 7-6 in 10 innings. The Tigers blanking the Guardians 3-0, and the Rangers in a tight one over the White Sox 2-1. Toronto Blue Jays, of course, in action right now, currently trailing the Tampa Bay Rays 7-0 in the top of the 7th. Giants and Dodgers, only other game on the schedule right now, 2-1 Giants at the top of the 4th. Just 2 other games in the MLB today. It will be the Braves and the Mets out in New York just after 5 o'clock, and it will be the Athletics in LA taking on the Angels, the late game just after 7:30. Olympic scores from around the world earlier today. In women's soccer, it was Spain over Japan 2-1, Brazil over Nigeria 1-0, Germany over Australia 3-0, and of course, the Canadian national women's team beating New Zealand 2-1 in their game earlier today to move to 1-0 in Group A play. Other Olympic results in men's rugby sevens, it was Samoa over Kenya 26-0, Australia over Argentina 22-14, the States over Uruguay 33-17, and New Zealand over Ireland 14-12. CFL Week 8 action gets going tonight as the 5-1 Rough Riders take on the equally 5-1 Montreal Alouettes. Cody Fajardo and Trevor Harris, the two starting quarterbacks for the clubs at the beginning of the season, will not be in for this one. News out of the NHL world is Travis Konecny has signed an 8-year, $70 million contract extension with the Philadelphia Flyers. The deal, of course, carrying an AAV of $8.75 million. And some news out of the NFL as the Denver Broncos have sweetened Cortland Sutton's deal. Sutton, who was set to make $13.5 million this year, will also have a $1.5 million incentive bonus added onto his contract. And Justin Fields received quarterback one reps for the Pittsburgh Steelers with Russell Wilson out with a calf injury. In hour 2 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Kevin Kurz of The Athletics to talk Flyers and our Tuesday and Thursday co-host, Terry Ryan. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
This is Sports 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Rule number 41, never challenge a goose in the Bow Valley. They run this town and they know it. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Move Water is your one-stop shop for all things water. From freshwater to wastewater, we've got the pumps and solutions to keep your water moving where it matters most.
Move Water, your water solution experts.
Visit movewater.ca today.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Your Edmonton Riverhawks invite you to the last Friday night party of the summer this Friday, July 26th. We're giving away 1,000 bobbleheads. Which player will you get? Come to the game and find out. Get your ticket to fun and watch the Hawks play at gohawks.ca. The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers. Or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com. 1205 101 Street. Your Edmonton Riverhawks invite you.
Kitties for the best time of day. It's Oodle Noodle time. Your noodle hero battles the barbarous Bobby Burger. Now sing along. You know the words. Oodle Noodle time.
Welcome back.
Oodle Noodle time. You know what time it is now. Get up and give me your best Oodle Noodle dance. Your best time of day is Oodle Noodle time.
Mr. Rooter sends his daughter to university.
You're sure you don't want to go to plumbing school?
No, Dad. I want to be a civil engineer so I can plan the sewers.
What a dreamer. I have a surprise. Your dad, Mr. Rooter, is going to pay your tuition.
Oh my gosh, really?
Here you go.
Oh, coins. Why are they so dirty?
Well, it's every coin I ever snaked out of a toilet. You're welcome, sweetheart.
For an A-plus plumbing experience, call Mr. Rooter.
Some people see their RV as a way to travel the countryside and explore the great outdoors. For others, it's more like a summer cottage. Sure, it's got wheels, but that doesn't mean that you have to roll it around all the time. And I know someone who uses his RV exactly like this. It's Rick Showers from No Bull RV. Hey, Rick, when was the last time you hooked up your trailer and took it somewhere?
Been years, Bob.
You just leave it in one place?
Well, you have to see our campsite. It's near Seba Beach. There's lots of privacy. It's a heavily wooded area, but very close to the lake, with full water and electrical hookup. So my wife, Deanna, and I enjoy cottage life with all its beauty and all the comforts of home.
And the RV you use as a cottage, did you buy it new?
Bob, what are you, nuts? I can happily find you an RV as nice as mine. Got dozens of them on the lot right now. And Deanna and I are living proof that you don't have to pay new RV prices to live the dream.
And that's Noble.
NobleRV.ca.
Welcome back, as always, as you heard, presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. It is the Daily Grand, where you can win $1,000 a day for the next 20 years. Get your tickets, PlayAlberta.ca. Deck, you asked a question earlier. I looked up Rich Eisen's 40-yard dash. So he started it in 2005. So obviously he hadn't done much preparation. First time he ran it, 6.77. Then he was like 6.43. Actually, he slowly got better every year because clearly he worked on it. Right. And his quickest time ever was 5.94 in 2016. 2020 was 5.98. So he's been around the 6 second mark, but kind of he's been training for it because it was 6.77 the first year and then cut out a half a second, the next year. So I don't think it was just a bad run, right? Half a second's a long time in a 40-yard dash. So for those wondering, the average person, I would still say would likely be 7 seconds or more for sure in the 40-yarder. Now let's get to TR's Tail Ryan's rant, brought to you by Action Electrical. Ooh, I would sure like to see the old Bunting brothers, see if any of them could break 7 seconds wheeling down. Now you get a little bit of a shock. All of a sudden they'll be bolting down the field, but when you use Action, there's no shocks. Not to the price, and definitely not from the electricity. ActionElectrical.net. As Terry Ryan is with us Tuesdays and Thursdays, joins us. TR, how you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm trying to get all my ducks in a row before I leave next week for Green Day and then Shoresy 4. So I'm at my daughter's soccer game once again. Usually it's practice, but she has a game tonight. I'm looking forward to it. It's about to start.
Hey, well, so Shoresy 4, when's that start filming?
Well, a little birdie told me that we might be doing it in August, a little bit of September, maybe.
Okay. All right.
Yeah,
well,
there you go.
There you go. That's so season 4 will be coming. That is good. Now, on Tuesday, we had a fun conversation. There were many people that were like, they would like to see TR, think he could return a serve. They think it's a lot harder than you think. But we said we would ask, what was the easiest? And we put easiest in quotations because in pro athletics, nothing is easy or simple. But what would be your easiest thing in pro sports?
So I've got a few that it came down to. And you tell me. So here's the 4 things that I just thought that, an average person. So I started with kick a field goal, but I kind of tamed away on that. I just, maybe the average athlete, but I don't know about the average person. You still got to get quite a bit of power behind it. And I don't think, again, every time. I just think, if you get an athlete up there that, give them or her 10 tries, if they could reach it, I think you could at least train for a day and do it. Then I had bobsled or luge. Like, I don't know, the whole Jerry Seinfeld routine, the only sport where you can do it completely involuntary and come out with the exact same score. I don't know if that's true, but I mean, you asked to do it. And I think to do it would just be to get in the contraption and let gravity take over. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope that's not extremely ignorant, that comment, but it's do it. It's not do it well. It's not whatever. I guess with a field goal, you'd have to actually make it. But for me, that's possibly number 1, possibly. Now, it came down to 2 things for me. you're probably going to think it's absurd, but it was either the penalty shot in soccer. Again, I know these are pros and everything, but I've always found it funny that, the beautiful game, you could argue the skill that it takes, it's not the hardest sport out there. I know that. And I always found it funny how it came down to something that Doug, who lives on Rosedale Avenue, can do. I'm not saying they do it well, but anybody that can kick the ball could kick it into the net at some point. I mean, I don't know. When I said I could return a serve, I said 100 and I'd get one. Maybe I'm wrong. I still think I'm right. But if you give an average person who can reach the net, I think they'd get one out of 10 or 20. The average athlete, I don't know. Now, the other one was the free throw in basketball. It's just you in the net.
Wow. See, the free throw in basketball might be the best answer. There's nothing stopping you from doing it. Can you get 1 out of 10? It's not that far. That's the one I would agree. I'll say this about luge and bobsled, TR. You're crashing before you're around the second corner if you don't know what you're doing. Like, that thing is going so fast, right? Like, because there's not like even if you start at the midway point of one of those tracks, right?
What are you doing in there? You're steering it?
Well, the driver steers it, but even the back guys, it depends if you're in the 4 or the 2, right? Which one are we talking, right? Because the 4 goes even.
Either. I'm talking one of those.
So you're saying, could you just be the middle guy who jumps in? Well, number one, you'd have to be fast enough out of the start gate to stick with the other 3 who run so you wouldn't slip and fall as they're blowing by you, right?
Yeah, that's the only thing I took into consideration. Yeah, is that. So but like outside of that, let's just say I'm in the middle, yeah, and they're carrying it. I only got to run for a little bit. I know I'm not underestimating their leg power, but again, I'm just there. I got to finish the race. You didn't ask if I was going to do it well. So maybe that's the answer. Or again, a free throw. If you can reach the net, you're going to get one.
Yeah, I think a free throw is probably the correct answer from when because there's no physical it's not that physically demanding to throw a basketball from a free throw line into the basket. And as you said, doesn't mean they got to be good at it. Right? Hey, Shaq was what? I don't even know what he was in his career, 70%. So, you know what?
I think less.
Yeah, it might even be less, actually. Might even be 56. But whatever he was, could a person do one? Now, I guess we're saying, is there a bar we have to meet? That wasn't the question. It was, what is the easiest thing to do? It would probably be, I think that would be the easiest one. It's the shortest thing that I can think of. Like, curling is way longer. Trying to get a hit in baseball, obviously not. Kicking a field goal, like the shortest one, like a chip shot, but then you got to be able to elevate it up, right? And then there's still there's more athleticism in kicking than there is in throwing a free throw. So I would probably argue you have the best odds of doing that as an average Joe, is to make a free throw, because there's no one stopping you. There's no battling.
Am I insane saying that if me or you got up there, that we would score 3 out of 10 penalty kicks? Is that unrealistic? I think we could do it.
Well, I played soccer. That was the one thing but I'll say this. It's funny because I was going through this. So I talked to a buddy of mine who played collegiate goal, and he was a goalie in collegiate ball at soccer. And then I asked, and he coached. And so he would have parents come out, right? And they're like, oh yeah, we're going to shoot on you in goal. None of them ever scored, he said, because I didn't have to react because I don't kick the ball hard enough. I could wait until I saw which way it was going, and I'd still have time to react. For the average person,
you or I would be like, to me, it's just if he picks the wrong side, I'm going to put it in.
Yeah, but he's not. But he's not moving until you make contact with the ball. He said.
Well,
because
no, I mean I can kick it hard.
Yeah, but you're not we're talking average person, TR.
Well,
not a former professional athlete.
Kick it hard enough, even though she plays soccer. She's only 14. I know what you mean. I know what you mean, though. Yeah, you're right. I guess
because we got to go. You got to remember. You got to remember. Yeah. Have you seen? So, as somebody who coaches kids, I see some kids from a young age. I went to the track and field competition this year, and I watched it, and I was stunned at how many kids could barely run with any sort of athleticism to it. There was none. Like there. So
and right off the bat, you're not going to be an athlete.
Yeah, like when we say average person.
True. Yeah, you're right.
So the average person isn't even playing elite club soccer at any level, right?
You know what?
Right? Some people never even kicked a ball in their life. Like, honestly, I think professional goalies, very few people would be able to. Hey, Terry, after 10 kicks, their leg would be sore. They'd be tired because they've never done it.
You know what? I stand corrected because I even thought that, like, my mom could make a free throw, but she could never score on on any goalie that played any level of all-star soccer, let alone pro. So yeah, you're right. I was thinking the average athlete there again. By the way, so I got all kinds of messages. Brad Brown listened. I mean, Brad Brown's my buddy, ex-NHLer, lives in Ottawa now. Anyway, he was listening to us, and he wanted me to mention that he thinks the hardest thing to do is make a flip on one of those balance bars.
Oh God,
they go forward and back, and yeah, and you know what?
That's a good one, actually.
I never even thought, but that's legit Olympic sport that's been around a long time, and something that they make look so easy that I didn't even think about it.
Oh, you know what? Because for how many people can even do it? Well, I can't do a backflip. I can't do a backflip in the grass.
No.
Never mind.
Most people can't,
Yeah.
and then you have to do it on the beam.
On the balance bar. Like, yeah, you know what? That's actually a really good answer by Brad. Like, lots of the gymnastic ones for sure. But that one is very simple to just do the balance for most of us. Like, my balance sucks. I've really had to work on it here. I've got some things that I do to work on my balance, and I literally practice it every day because I never had great balance. And it's funny because when you see kids in sport and they're like, if they can't balance off the ice, how do you think they're going to be a great skater? Because you need amazing balance on the ice. And so if you're not working on that off the ice, you're never going to get good at it. But I like that answer a lot from Brad, because that is it's a ridiculous skill just to be able to do a backflip, and then to do it landing. I don't even know how wide that thing is. 4 inches, maybe 5, whatever it is, like 6 inches. I don't care.
Yeah,
it is
tiny.
It's pretty tough.
I looked when he said it. I looked. I did a little bit of research on it, and it's tiny. And just to get the kahunas to try it for the first time, a lot of people drop. They don't do it. It's like a great equalizer within the sport. Like, a lot of people don't make it to that point.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. So yeah, it's good. We got a lot. There's a lot of people who'd texted in bowling that they thought. Now we could argue is bowling a sport, but technically, I guess it is. So bowling, but even making a free throw, or like, can you throw it down the alley? Just to hit one pin. I don't know. I guess. But if we're talking a strike in bowling, then a free throw is still easier.
Yeah, I think a free throw is still. I mean, really, you could be old and decrepit, man, and be able to hit just if you can't even throw it overhand, give it a bucket shot. And by the way, there's a good documentary out there on that. There's a guy in the '60s that went and they're technically the form when you do that. Bucket shot,
underneath. The underneath. Yes.
So there's a great documentary. I forget the guy's name, but I just listened to it on the plane. It's incredible. And he was the one guy that did it all through the 70s, and his percentages went way up. It's just no one thinks it's cool. And Shaq didn't want to do it.
Rick Barry. Is that Rick Barry, correct?
Yes, you're right. It's Rick Barry. Yes. Yeah. Nice snag, Jason.
No, give Declan credit. He yelled it in my ear. So I don't like take credit for things that aren't mine. It was the deck man who tossed that one out there. So
it's an incredibly interesting story. And
it's a great.
We were at the courts.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
No, it's a very good one. I agree with it. Quickly, give me your thoughts on the Oilers hire Stan Bowman.
I'll tell you this. I listened to him speak, and I think it was an incredible interview for what I expected. I don't think this guy is a threat. I think he's paid his dues, all of that, and he made a believer out of me. But the thing is, you're asking me my honest opinion. Honestly, I wouldn't have done it in the first place. There's too much baggage around it. There's too many good hockey people. Do I wish him any ill will? No, none of that. I just wouldn't want the baggage around it for no reason. Now, they know more than I do. And as I did the deep dive, he's spoken directly with the people involved and, has done a lot of work. So again, I am fine with it. I'm fine with him. I'm fine, but I just wouldn't have done it being, the optics of the whole thing. That's honestly what I would have done.
No, that's totally fair. You and I were kind of on the same page when it was mentioned, and now he's here. And to me, TR, I will evaluate this hiring as much about what he does as a GM as much about what he does in his position to further the cause of sexual abuse. They talk the talk. I'm going to see if he walks the walk. That's going to be the thing I monitor the most.
Exactly. And is he just mailing it in? He didn't sound like it to me. You've heard people in this position that mail it in. They're doing it because they had to do it. I got to be honest, in the position he was in, I was a bit of a doubter, but I heard everything I've heard him say so far. I like, given the situation. But you're right. Now we got to see, because he has two jobs to do here, right? His job, and then he's got to really, really work on this. And as far as the whole situation and the culture, and he has to prove to everybody involved that he is reformed. He's taking not only the team, but the culture and everything in a positive direction, right? The team wears it now. So, hey, they're confident enough, though. I wasn't in the room and hired him, and like I said, I've heard him so far. Everything I've heard sounds like a mature guy that's literally remorseful and wants to do good. So, who am I to say anything negative about that?
TR, enjoy the big match tonight. Don't scream too loud from the sidelines, and we'll chat with you next week.
Sounds good. It's great to hear from you guys, and looking forward to speaking next week. Thank you, Declan. Thank you, Jason. Thank you, Edmonton. We'll chat soon.
That's Terry Ryan. Quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
Albatross Roofing and Construction has immediate job openings for skilled flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers. If you have SBS modified bitumen experience and CSTS certification, they want you. Get a great wage, benefits, steady work, and upward growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca today.
What's cracking at Cattail Crossing? Every Friday after 4 p.m., it's 9 and Dine Fridays. Includes golf for two with a power cart at Cattail Crossing and a $50 food voucher at Out of Bounds Restaurant. Only $119.99. Tea times can be booked at cattailcrossing.ca.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and used semi-trailers, trusted by the gravel, logging, oil field, fluids, and freight industries. Find a trailer right for you online or at one of their 3 locations. For sales, service, parts, rental, and finance, when you're in it for the long haul, Edmonton Trailer.
Well, get ready for a silly hockey fans. Your partner in power just skated onto the ice.
EWEL.ca, the new e-commerce website for electrical wholesalers Edmonton, is ready for the power play 24/7, 365.
UL skates to where the puck will be in 5 years. Now that's forward thinking.
Killer selection, slamming products from the best brands, and legendary service.
Don't sit on the bench. Get your account today at EWEL.ca and win that project.
Plug into your partner in power. Get an EWEL.ca account today.
The Brick is serving up incredible deals on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Find everything you need to outfit your home this summer, from kitchen appliances and dining sets to mattresses and electronics. Take advantage of our amazing block party prices and fun family activities. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio, or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
Jonathan and Murray are friends.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Except when they talk about which stadium is more fun in the summer.
Dude, Commonwealth has Elks Fan Park. Tailgating at its finest.
But it can't compare to the old ballpark in the River Valley. Riverhawks games are electric. But ask them who makes the best beef jerky in Alberta, and they'll tell you.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky.
It's the only thing everyone can agree on. So, pick some up for your summer pregame snack.
Wilhauk Beef Jerky, because you don't win friends with salad.
If you've ever restored a classic car or seen one, you smile because you know what it took to get that beauty looking pristine. The same is true for men who restore their hair. Nothing but smiles for miles. Patients from all over Canada travel to see me, Dr. Vance Elliott, to have their hair loss treated. and Remedy. I've been helping people for 28 years. My practice is outfitted with the most innovative and latest hair transplant techniques and technology. And I do it myself. Contact us at drvanselliot.com.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Welcome back. Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. As it's time we continue our off-season report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling, home of the no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. You probably really wished you had it last week. Well, don't wait. Plan ahead. Get it now at legacyheating.ca. As we are joined back in the show, longtime veteran reporter in the National Hockey League, of course, longtime with the Sharks and the Islanders, and now with the covering the Philadelphia Flyers. Kevin Kurz joins us on a big day in Philadelphia. Kev, welcome back to the show, man. Is this the biggest total contract for the Flyers? I guess, well, the Shea Weber offer sheet, but that doesn't count. Who's had a bigger total amount in Flyers history than this connecting deal?
Yeah, I think this is the biggest one.
Okay.
Mike Richards, a long time ago, got I believe it was a 12-year, $69 million deal.
Okay.
So yeah, this is the biggest one. That didn't register with me right away, but I did see. I think someone else tweeted that. I wish I could remember where I saw that, but yeah, I mean, it's a big deal for sure. It's not just today. It's the last 2 days. You bring in. You sign one of the top prospects in the league and Matvei Michkov yesterday and introduce him to the local media. And then, you lock up the guy that's been here for such a long time and really just, when you think Philadelphia Flyer, you think about the way Travis Konechny plays the game. And so, I think locking him up long-term, it's, there's pros and cons and there's some risk either way, but at the end of the day, I think it was a pretty good move for a pretty good couple of days for Danny Briere.
Yeah, you look at we'll get to Konechny in a second, but you look at Michkov, and he's a very intriguing prospect to me. When he dropped down to number 7, it wasn't due to skill. Some people thought he might be in Russia for 3 years, and ends up being only 1 year, and now he's going to come to the NHL. I read your stories, I read the others. He lands, he wants to get on the ice right away. Like obviously, he's a motivated player for sure. What are kind of the realistic expectations for him? And, young players sometimes with John Tortorella, it can be difficult. Some guys love him because he's very demanding. How do you think Michkov's going to fit in? And where do you think he's going to play?
Yeah, that's going to be really interesting because obviously the John Tortorella factor is going to be at the forefront of everyone's mind here. The one thing that Torts has going for him, I think, going into next season is he now has a history with a lot of players on this roster, young players on this roster that have gotten better under his watch. And Travis Konechny is one of them. He's not the youngest guy anymore, 27 years old, but he was still a guy who was coming off maybe a couple down years, 2 years under Tortorella. He looks like, a really solid, well-rounded player. But you've got other guys here too, like Cam York, Owen Tippett, Tyson Forster, defenseman Igor Zamula, even the goalie Sam Ersson had some pretty good times before he was sort of thrust into the number one role. So there's a lot of young players here that have gotten better under John Tortorella, and that is the biggest reason they were able to hang in the playoff race as long as they did last season was because of the development of these young guys under Torts' watch. Now, I think Tortorella made some mistakes at the end of the season, but it was more with veteran guys, Scratch and Sean Couturier kind of killed all the vibes, and then he's riding the goalie a little bit too hard, something he admitted, and that wasn't necessarily his fault because he didn't have too many options, but maybe he could have done something differently there. So, it wasn't a perfect season for John Tortorella in Philadelphia last year. But again, I think that where this organization's at, they're looking for a coach that can help these young players along, put a foundation in place where they can take steps in their careers. And in that regard, they really did. It really was a success for them last year. And that's why, if they hadn't blown the playoffs there late, Torts would probably would have gotten some votes for the Jack Adams.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So now we get to Konechny, and, $8.75 million. He's coming off, 2 career highs the last few seasons, 30 goals in both, 61 and 68 points. And, some people have the, 10 points for $1 million kind of mathematics. So if that's the one they go to, that's a little bit lower. Now, Konechny is a heart and soul guy. He kills penalties, actually very productive on the penalty kill as well in that regard. Like, is he a guy where he might not put up 85 points, but that's not necessarily where his value is going to just be looked at?
Yeah, I think they look at him now as a well-rounded guy. He did add the penalty killing element to his game last year. He's literally one of the best penalty killing forwards in the league last season. Yeah. I mean, he had, I think, was it 6 goals? He could have had double that. I mean, it seemed like every game or every other game, this guy was getting a shorthanded breakaway or generating a 2-on-1 the other way. So, that obviously made him more valuable. That drove his number up a little bit. I think you also have to look at the fact that, he's got back-to-back 30-goal seasons, but the Flyers' power play has been terrible for the last 3 seasons now. Yes. So if they can ever get that going, you would think that would help to boost Konechny's numbers, whether it's goals, assists, whatever. That's really going to be the X factor with this team next season. The 2 X factors, I'd say, that would be the goaltending, which we don't really know where that's going to be, and the power play. If the power play was even average this year, the Flyers are easily in the playoffs. So that's something they absolutely have to fix. But when you look at Konechny, he's still only going to be 28 years old when this contract kicks in. So it's not like he's going to be over the hill. I would think the expectation here is this guy's going to continue to be a 30-goal scorer for at least the next 3 or 4 seasons. I think he has it in him to do that. But I think you have to look at the process, right? Getting back to the playoffs is clearly a process when you're a team like the Flyers. It's probably not going to have top 5 picks anytime soon, just because of how where the roster is right now. It's a decent looking roster. So you've got to help this process along, and Konechny is a guy that can do that on the ice. I think he's a guy that they look at as a leader now by the way he plays the game. He busts his butt all over the place. He's a heart and soul guy. He never shuts up on the ice. I mean, you watch this guy play. He's in the middle of every scrum. This guy wants to win, right? So you're setting the example on the ice. And then, when you look at the contract, I think as if you're a young player in the Flyers organization now, you see that here's Travis Konechny, who not only busts his butt, but he's tried to get better. He has gotten better over the last couple of years. He added the penalty killing element to his game this year, and they reward him. The team rewards him. So he committed himself to the city. I think that's good for a lot of the young guys in the organization to see that here's a guy that is, again, a heart and soul Flyer, and the way he approaches the game and the competitive drive that he has, well, that's the kind of player they want in the dressing room. So, if you're a young player, that's a guy you can look up to now for, the next 9 years.
Kevin Kurz joins us. We are talking the Philadelphia Flyers. Travis Konechny gets an 8-year extension, 8.75. They also signed their 7th overall pick from the 2023 NHL entry draft, Matvei Michkov, to his 3-year entry-level deal yesterday. There are some guys on that team that, they look and say, okay, where's Joel Farabee at? Right? Like they're really high in Joel Farabee. I thought Owen Tippett had a really good season last year. Frost and Farabee, Kev, where are they at?
Well, I still think Farabee would be the most likely guy to get moved in a hockey trade.
Okay.
He makes $5 million for, I think it's the next 3 years. I don't have the thing in front of me right now, but he's a guy that both those guys really, to me, they haven't fully earned Tortorella's trust yet. Right.
Yeah.
Farabee, they kind of went in reverse. Farabee had a real strong first half, and then he kind of got dropped down the lineup towards the end. And to me, that was a sign that when the temperature got turned up, as it did over the last 4, 5, 6 weeks of the season, I don't think Farabee was looked at from Tortorella or the rest of the staff as a guy that was raising his game or was able to raise his game. Or I think he was just a little bit too easy to play against, right? A lot of those guys that they can get their points and they look good, have good stretches. And then when, again, the games get a little bit more important, he struggled a little bit with that. And so I do wonder what his long-term future is. Morgan Frost, I think, is a little bit more safe for the time being because he's a center, and that position right now on this team is a little iffy. You've got Sean Couturier, who had a great first half and then just fell off a map in the second half. Scott Lawton was sort of the opposite. He had a not very good first half, and then he came on a little bit in the second half. Ryan Paling's a good depth center, but he's not a top 6 guy. So Morgan Frost, I think, is going to get another chance here to produce, maybe with a guy that in Matvei Michkov now that he has not had a chance to play with before. Someone like that who can create offense on his own inside the blue line and, can snap it from wherever. So we'll see where Michkov lines up, how Torts wants to use him. And I know I didn't really answer your question the first time. I mean, that's going to be no doubt. There's no doubt in my mind that there's going to be times where Matvei Michkov is sitting on the bench for a whole period, if not 2, right? He's going to do some things that Tortorella is going to view as, well, here's a teaching moment. He screwed this up, so now he's going to sit and watch for 20 minutes, and fans are going to lose their minds or whatever. And again, that's just going to be something we have to monitor. But when you keep in mind that the playoffs and a Stanley Cup isn't really the organizational goal next season, I mean, this whole thing, it's still going to take some time. And I think right now where the Flyers are at, I wonder a little bit that if, Danny Briere hinted at making hockey trades at the start of the offseason, but before he even knew Michkov had a possibility of coming over. They've put such a premium on the culture, and they took so many strides in that regard last season in terms of the culture, the vibes, whatever you want to call it. I think they're looking at that as even more important now that are bringing in a guy in Michkov who flat out has to be an elite level NHL scorer in order for this rebuild to work. Maybe they look at the culture around him as being a little bit more important. So they want to try to keep as much of this group together as possible for at least the start of the season.
Kev, it's going to be an interesting one in Philadelphia. I think you're right. It didn't end how they wanted. They trucked along all season long. Goaltending will be definitely something to watch for there. They've got some young players that have taken strides. Michkov, he's going to turn 20 in December. And, I think being a little bit older in the NHL always helps you. It's still going to be difficult for any rookie, but I'm kind of intrigued to see, where the Flyers go next year and specifically what happens in goal.
Yeah, well, we'll see early there, Jason. The 3rd game of the year, I think it is.
Yes.
I think we're up there.
Yeah.
But you're right. The goaltending, I mean, that's still a big question mark. They really, the biggest reason they missed the playoffs last year after they put themselves in such a good position was because they lose Carter Hart at the All-Star break. Sam Emerson was looking like a real solid number 2 or even a 1B at that point. And then they just overplayed him. He couldn't handle the workload. So, his game fell off. But again, they didn't have a reliable backup, so they were kind of forced to play him a little bit. In hindsight, I think they could have probably handled that a little bit differently. And then you've got Ivan Fedotov, this 6'7" tall Russian who they pry him out of military service and get him over here in March. he's been here all summer. He's working, so we'll see what he has. I don't think anyone really knows what they've got in this guy other than he's a giant.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Kev, as always, man, great stuff. I appreciate it. Have an awesome day.
Okay, thanks, Jason. Anytime. Take care.
There you go. That is Kevin Kerrs joining us from Philadelphia. We'll take a quick break. We'll return on the Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And ooh, there is a lot going on. Should be a fun weekend. We'll break it down next. You're on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the Cheesy Burger Trio or choose between the large Cheesy Burger Pizza for $18.99, Cheesy Burger Papadilla for $9.99, and Bacon Cheesy Burger Papa Bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some Cheesy Burger Pizza at Papa John's.
Rule number 12, not spending the afternoon tubing on the Pembina? Next, you'll tell us you don't wear flannel. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
You've got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
You don't work for GMC, but it's kind of like you do because you pay what we pay. GMC employee pricing is on now on all 2024 GMC Sierra half tons and Hummers. Oh, but at Wolf GMC Buick, it's even better. Get GMC employee pricing on every in-stock 2024 GMC. If it's new and a 2024 and it has that beautiful GMC logo on it, then it's GMC employee priced. Pay what we pay, but only until July 25th. Get into Wolf GMC Buick now and see the over 200 GMCs in stock.
Christensen Communities, the name in active adult living. Enjoy retirement living without compromise. At Christensen, we understand that each lifestyle is unique. We are committed to providing choice through optional dining, personal services, recreation programs, and care plans to suit your current and future needs. Enjoy maintenance-free living and build new friendships in a safe, independent community. Large suites with full kitchens and in-suite laundry, on-site amenities, and so much more. Find out more today about our communities across the province at cdlhomes.com.
Employee pricing is on now at GMC. Right now, get up to $11,300 off select Sierra 1500 Denali Ultimate Crew Cab models. With employee pricing, combined with Sierra's 6.2-liter V8 gas engine, 13.4-inch diagonal premium infotainment system with available Google built-in, plus available Super Cruise hands-free driver assistance tech, there's more reasons than ever to celebrate this summer. Hit it! Oh yeah! Ask your GMC advisor for details.
Are you afraid of losing your car or home due to debt? Don't let fear or shame hold you back from seeking help. Bankruptcy is not the only option. A consumer proposal can reduce your monthly payments, lower your overall debt, and allow you to keep your assets. My name is Parveen Middleton. I'm a licensed insolvency trustee at BDO here in Edmonton. I'm here to help you tackle your debt. Take the first step towards regaining control of your finances. Call 1-833-BDO-TALK or visit bdodebt.ca to learn more.
Show on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Hope you are having yourself an awesome Thursday. Had a little rain. Hopefully we get some more. It's nice. Jeez, it was sure refreshing. Hey, I like the heat, but come on. That many days of 30 and it's dry. Ugh, not great. So it's good to get a little rain, a little breather. You can go outside. Hopefully we can get rid of some of this smoke. And obviously all of our thoughts today are with those who directly affected by the fire in Jasper. Just not a great day whatsoever for anybody up there. And it's probably going to be many years to recover. But as Fort McMurray has shown, you can definitely do it. So hopefully they'll be able to do the same. Let's get racing now. And the racing report brought to you by Can Torque. And they have the new machining in-house capacity, which means better quality, ultimate flexibility, more precision. Go to cantorque.com or send call an email. Give them a call, 436-2000. Colin Livingston joins us. And, man, there's lots going on in racing right now. Colin, of course, let's start locally. Of course, the NASCAR's the Pinty Series is in town in Wetaskiwin this weekend. Was in Saskatoon last weekend. Give us a quick little preview of coming up on Saturday.
Spent some time with Carius earlier this week, so this might be redundant for people who were listening the other day. But obviously we've talked a lot over the years about people's introductions to racing. We're getting a lot of people interested through Drive to Survive and shows like that, where they get to see top level Formula One in a highly produced sense. What we're doing this weekend is grassroots. This is where so many racers get their start. Like, Wetaskiwin is just such an awesome spectator facility because it's a quarter-mile oval. You get to see everything. Tickets are affordable. I don't know off the top of my head what a ticket costs, but it's, it's like $100 or less.
No, it's not. I think it's like $50.
Something like that. Yeah. Fortunately I don't have to buy tickets anymore. But you've got 14 of the best drivers in Canada. These cars are crazy powerful. They're almost 600 horsepower. So when you get to see 14 of them, kind of crammed into such a small space, there's always something going on. If you're a fractions of seconds off the fastest pace, you're going to start fighting to go a lap down within the first, 15 laps. The leaders are going to start catching the tail of the field. So there's going to be passing almost every single lap of the race. One of the cool things, and especially for new people to the sport, though, is we always have an autograph session, and it is open to every single person on the property. It's not like, in Formula One, in IndyCar, you can kind of get access to the drivers, but you got to stand in line for your favorite driver for like 2.5 hours to get a quick thing.
Or you got to be a suite holder.
Or you've got to really spend some serious bank to get in there. We have no problem accommodating every single person, so you can get out there and meet, all of our, we've had a number of drivers kind of, get to do their appearance this week, like Donald Teague last weekend. We're waiting for him. He might even come and push his face up against the glass. Larry Jackson, you got to talk to him last week. DJ Kennington, multi-time champion. Andrew Ranger, multi-time champion. So many. We've got our local drivers, Jamie Krizik, Chantel Kalika, and for the life of me now, I can't think of the third one, but it doesn't matter. Just an awesome experience. There isn't a bad seat in the place. If you sit down low, you're not going to get the same perspective, but you're going to get way more of the sensation, the speed, and the sound. If you sit up high, you lose a bit of that sensation, but you get to see everything. So, and anybody who comes out, I'll be floating around as well. You've heard my voice for a number of years. Come and say hi. Let us know that you listen to the show.
Now, it's awesome. It should be fun. Anybody who hasn't been, I highly recommend it. I've been out there a few times. I have a good friend's wedding on Saturday, so I won't be able to make it this year, but I recommend you go if you have the time. F1 has become more and more exciting this year than we've seen in quite a time. There's like 4 teams now battling. Heck, you've got internal teams battling for positions with Piastri, of course, and Lando Norris after, Norris has a big exchange. Now, as a racing guy, I want to ask you about that. Like, I get the strategy, and they did pit him first as a team, but if the pits are the exact same time, as far as like 4 seconds, 5 seconds, I don't know what I'm talking about, and you do it one lap after the other, should it really matter?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So he had to Now, what if he would have let Piastri pass him earlier, but then could have pushed him to pass later? That's where I was like, okay, Norris, why not just let him go now? And then it's 10 laps left. Now it should be a race. Or I don't know. Maybe I don't know enough, but would that be deemed acceptable?
Hindsight is 2020, of course. They said to Lando early in the stint, like when Piastri was taken off and he had all the speed, they said, you are welcome to race the papaya car, but keep it clean.
Yeah.
Meaning it was game on. As long as they race fair, they had no problem with it. They knew that they made a tactical error. The unwritten / written law in Formula One is the lead car gets the pit strategy. They get to
from their team.
They get to be the first one to decide. The team, for whatever reason, I don't think McLaren is quite accustomed to their new position as being the head of the pack. They don't think like winners quite yet. And I'm not saying that they're losers, but they have their old style mentality because they seem to be worried that Lando wasn't going to be able to hold off Lewis if Lewis undercut them, which really wasn't possible because they screwed up Lewis's pit stop by pulling him in way too early on his first stint. So he had to extend to get to the end of the race. Notwithstanding, had Lando really thought big picture and let Piastri go by, especially because he demonstrated within a couple of laps, he had more pace. It could have been a very different outcome. He could have let Piastri go. He could have stayed in his wake, then gone back and potentially challenged him for the win. Earned it fair and square. Instead, obviously, highly contentious.
Waited too long. So that's probably some. And I was surprised no one asked him that. I wish one of them in the post race would have said, Lando, why didn't you just let him pass right away? Then you could have raced for the last 10 laps.
Yeah.
Right.
Even today in today's press conference, he called it stupid waiting too long. So I know he's now
he admitted that. Okay.
Didn't say it in so many words, but he did call his move stupid, which means that, he has obviously had a little bit of sober second thought. In the heat of the moment, it's really easy to make the wrong decision when emotion takes over.
Which would describe probably Max Verstappen's attempt to pass Lewis Hamilton, which then resulted in him not only losing, dropping to fifth. Now, he didn't get a lot of people on the broadcast he's getting penalized for sure. He didn't get penalized afterwards, so he stayed in fifth. It had it been a 10-second penalty, he would have dropped sixth. What did you make of the non-penalty? Was that the right call?
They have to start enforcing their rules.
Okay.
Verstappen, love him or hate him, you cannot deny that he continually pushes the boundaries. Every driver, that's their tendency, and this is what happens when we put a helmet on our head and we get a steering wheel in our hands. But Max is continually endangering people. And the problem is now, unlike the last couple of years, they don't have the fastest car anymore. So in my opinion, Max is driving very desperately and he's driving scared. And when he drives like that, he is dangerous. He starts becoming a weapon because his mentality is, and I'm speaking for what I see. I mean, obviously, I don't get inside of Max's head, but his tactic has always been, I'm going to drive until you back out of it. It doesn't matter if we hit, but I'm going to get you to pull away, even if it means that I'm pushing past what is acceptable. And it worked for him for a long time. Back in the championship fight of 21, when it was him and Lewis going back and forth, he pushed Lewis off, half a dozen times until Lewis finally said, I'm not backing out of it. They made contact at Silverstone and put Max in the hospital for a brief period of time. Max is going back to that. They absolutely have to start penalizing this stuff. Otherwise, like we've said for years, if drivers don't learn what is wrong, they'll continue to do it.
Colin Livingston joins us in the Cantork Racing Report. One other big story here is Alpine. And what they're doing, it looks like they might partner with Mercedes and abandon their engine program, which is probably going to lead to like hundreds of layoffs. Are they leaking funds here? What's the real story here with Alpine in this decision?
If the numbers that are posted are accurate, they like to develop and maintain their own engine program has cost up to 100 million euro to be at the back of the pack. the engine deal that it sounds like they've got structured with Mercedes, which is supposed to take over as early as next year, but likely 2026, will only quote unquote only cost 17 million euro a year. While it is a no-brainer on paper, there's a lot of labor loyalty, and there's a lot of law in Europe that will come into play, that it seems like if they actually execute this deal, there's going to be a lot of labor unrest with the rest of the company. Again, Alpine, part of Renault, they're a major, they're one of the world leader automotive manufacturers. We don't see a lot of them here in North America, but if the rest of their divisions decide that they're going to take some kind of action, it could be very impactful for them. Obviously they're trying to do what's best for their race team, but the rest of the company isn't going to be too happy.
What'd you make of IndyCar Toronto? Kind of a predictable crash?
No, absolutely not. The fact that there was incidents outside of turn one, that's nothing new. The one towards the end of the race,
That one was that didn't make much sense. And now I know everybody's upset that they didn't throw a yellow flag right away. What did you make of that?
Looking back, it seems like there's a lot that could have been done to get that yellow out earlier. I can't remember the last driver that came through. I watched a bunch of the replays. They got the yellow. He was able to slow down, managed to navigate his way through. But yeah, huge crash with Ferrucci going up into the fence. You just never want to see that. Pardon me. But yeah, IndyCar will definitely evaluate and try to do things better. But great for Andretti. They showed with Colton Herta and Kyle Kirkwood running 1-2 all race. Kirkwood never made the bonsai move. They executed the race. They ran for the team. Both drivers happy. McLaren could definitely be taking notes from our friend Rob Edwards and that Andretti group.
And lastly, I just got this text coming in, the road tax kart tournament competition that's coming up. I mean, what he's curious about why now there's some class that's not racing. Honestly, I don't know this, so pardon me if I'm putting you on the spot, but what's it talking about?
Well, kind of close to my heart. Next week, Rotax Canada final. This is where the Western classes of Rotax come together to compete. There's, I think, 8 eligible classes, but there might only be 3 tickets awarded this year. Our group, our off-camber karters group, the largest DD2 group in the world, the club race, we've been left off the schedule, which, kind of, again, it hits me personally. I don't mind talking, but I wasn't going to bring it up, but I'm not going to hide away from what I think. Pretty disappointed. Our group has not necessarily been the best at supporting, but most of our drivers are club racers. They're not accustomed to racing the big events. We've been working on our drivers over the last couple of years to get them thinking more about travel races. We just had our group last weekend down in Calgary. I had to skip that to do the Pinty's race. But yeah, kind of disappointed that, we have over 30 drivers in our club just running DD2 that there's no spot for us on the calendar unless we decide to purchase or rent a different kart, a different style kart in a different class that none of us have ever run, which doesn't make an awful lot of financial sense to try and jump into an unfamiliar kart. But yeah, hopefully going forward, we can, show these guys that we're serious, that we will support, we can get, whatever it's going to be, the minimum number that they're looking for, and we can go back and have some fun again.
Awesome. Well, enjoy the weekend in Wetaskiwin. Best of luck there. We'll talk to you next Thursday.
Sounds good, man.
Let's go. That's the Racing Report brought to you by Can Torque. Let's get to Declan Kruger and a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Albatross Roofing. Immediate job openings for experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators. You must have experience with Torch on Roofing. Steady, ongoing work and industry-leading wages and benefits. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca.
This is the Sports 1440 update.
And we start in the MLB Pure Sports 1440 update. A piece of history as Dylan Cease joined Joe Musgrove as the only Padres pitcher to throw a no-hitter in franchise history. Cease, in 9 innings pitched, naturally had 9 strikeouts and 3 balls en route to a 3-0 victory for the Washington Nationals. One game in action right now in the majors. Dodgers leading the Giants 4-2 in the top of the 7th. Dodgers with 12 hits, Giants with 7 through this point in the game. Finals from earlier: the Orioles over the Marlins in 10, 7-6. Tigers blanked the Guardians 3-0. Rangers in a tight one over the White Sox, and a poor showing by the Toronto Blue Jays as they lose 13-0, giving up 16 hits to the Tampa Bay Rays. 2 other games in action later today: Braves and Mets just after 5 o'clock, and the Athletics and Angels late game just after 7:30. Olympic results in women's soccer: with Spain over Japan 2-1, Canada, of course, over New Zealand 2-1, Brazil over Nigeria 1-0, Germany over Australia 3-0, the U.S. over Zambia 3-0, and France over Colombia 3-2. In the world of CFL football, Elks quarterback McLeod Bethel Thompson has been fined for comments on the CFL scheduling. Now, per league policy, the fine amount has not been disclosed. Week 8 gets going tonight as the Saskatchewan Roughriders take on the Montreal Alouettes. Kickoff for that one will be at 5:30. Both teams missing their starting quarterbacks. Trevor Harris out for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. It will be Shea Patterson. And Cody Fajardo out for the Montreal Alouettes. It will be Caleb Evans taking the snaps in that one. One other piece of news in the NHL is Travis Konechny has signed an 8-year, $70 million extension with the Flyers. The $8.7 million AAV and total contract value is the highest in Philadelphia Flyers history. Coming up in hour 3 of the Jason Gregor Show, we'll talk to Miles Dichter from CBC Sports as we preview the Olympics coming up here and ask 5 questions. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440, Stingray Radio Station. CKJR broadcasts from West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin.
Download the free Stingray music app and listen wherever you go.
The job isn't done until the last load is hauled, and having a semi-trailer out of commission is not an option. Whether replacing or adding to your convoy, Edmonton Trailer has a huge inventory of new and
Declan Kruger with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. How you doing? Happy Thursday. The Olympics have begun. If you missed it, the women's soccer team without their coach, victorious over New Zealand. So the drone worked. No, I'm kidding. But honestly, the level of ridiculousness in thinking this was needed makes no sense to me. You can say staffers, but some overzealous person, or maybe, you know what? If the people above didn't even know, then the staff are like, what do you think you're going to do? You're going to walk into the coach's office. Hey, coach, I had a drone out there today, and I really think we can find some stuff that's going to help us win. Come on. Like, you're probably overstepping or overvaluing what you deem as helpful. It's a terrible look. So we'll Bet Priestman steps away from the game for one game, sure, but obviously they won without her. But if the coach isn't on the sidelines, you have a strategy there. Are you telling me that the coach can't be talking on the phone at halftime? So who knows? Either way, hopefully they move on from it. But a bad look. It's like you look at the Deflategate, that was Spygate. You look at the sign stealing's much worse. Make no mistake about it. For Houston, much, much worse. It is a Gregor Show presented by PlayAlberta.ca. We have lots and lots of tech. Many of you are fired up about what we asked the question. What do you think would be the easiest thing to do in pro sports? Guys, what about a putt? Anybody can putt. Can they? Now, what are we talking? Like a 10-foot putt? You give them 10 shots. So if you had a 10-foot putt or a free throw, what are you more confident you can make? Because now, isn't it like 10% of people golf? And maybe that's high. So I don't know. I'd still go with the free throw. I think the odds of making one free throw are higher than making one 10-foot putt for the average. Got to remember, it's average person. So you might golf more. So for you, yes, it would probably be easier to make the 10-foot putt. But if we're looking at average, I think there's more average people that have shot a basketball in their life than they have putted a golf ball. I would think that's a fair statement. How many of you have, you play basketball even in junior high and gym class or elementary? Not a lot of are playing golf. So right there, that's it. So yeah, I'd probably still put I think the free throw might be it. We've had a few who think a strike in bowling easier than a free throw. No, I don't think so. I think a strike's even harder than a free throw. 833-401-1440. Hey guys, what about being the first in curling? Toss two guards up, sweeping. Probably could manage that from JR. So you're saying, could they in 10 tries just get it past the hog line? Oh, interesting. Now they got to have the balance to get out of the hack. For some people, it's a struggle. Because if you've never had a slider on, it's a little bit of a game changer. Did you ever curl, Declan?
I would curl in gym class and things like that. It was fun. It was great. I loved it. Loved getting out and curling anytime we had to do it. Never curled in a real competitive setting. Always enjoyed it. But that said, I was never doing it to do it well. I was just doing it for fun in gym class. There was no competition to it. There was no real skill to it. It was just a nice unit whenever we had the time.
Hey guys, I always thought my best chance to appear at the summer games would be lawn bowling from the surf in the kingdom of Delburn. Lawn bowling. Ooh. All right. Hey guys, I feel like we've all watched race walking and said, I can do that, from Spruce Grove Corey. Really? That's actually, how many could do it 100 meters and not get disqualified? I don't know. It is such a weird motion. But that one's it's walking. Right? How far would maybe 100 meters is too? Because there's obviously like what's the shortest race walking distance? I don't even know. I know there's like 20K and 50K, but it's a pretty tough one. Hey guys, what about just hitting the dartboard? Would that count? If so, that's my answer. Fair. So, well, you have to make the free throw. It's not just hit the rim. So would it mean shooting a 20, which is the most popular number that you're shooting in darts? So it'd say like I get 10 throws, can I hit it 20 once? Ooh, now that's, you know what? That's a good one. 120 or one free throw. What do you think? For the average person. It's good. Hey guys, first baseman in baseball? Nope. Dude, now I know that it's not the hot corner, but you're still getting a few ground balls. Fielding ground balls, the pros make it look really easy. Because now remember, if it's an average person hitting to an average person, well, that's very different. But if you're average Joe or Jill and you're playing first base, I think that's an accident waiting to happen. I can see the first baseman reaching out, the throw from the shortstop or third baseman deflects off their top of the glove, boom, right in the beak. Blood all over. Not a good look. Because how many of you have seen that happen in slow pitch? Yeah, I wouldn't put anything in baseball on the list. I can't do it. I think it would be too challenging. Very different. So, hey guys, last season on the PGA Tour, the average for 10-foot putts was 41% from Real Slim Davy. There you go. See, I agree with you. So 41% on 10-foot putts for professional golfers. So we're going to ask the average person to be 10%. Can't happen. Now, again, because if we're going to do it on the professional level, that means you have to putt on the course that professionals putt on. So if they're only 41%, wow, that's surprising to me. A 10-footer is longer than you think, though. That's what she said. Hi-yo, but you know what I mean. Yeah. That's a great stat, Slim Davy. I like it. Like it a lot. Hey, guys, you're bang on. I'd like to see anybody try to dig one out of first, man. Like, oh, honestly, the first. And what about having the splits factor? Well, that eliminates, I don't know, 99. Like, I don't know what the number is, but I'm going to guess 99% of us that can do the splits. Like, I can't even come close. And I would think the majority of people can't do the splits. The vast, like you're in the elite 1%, I think, if you can do the splits regular. Like gymnasts obviously can. People train. Girls, just because of their pelvic and everything, they're more likely to be able to do splits than men. That's actually a physical factor. Doesn't mean you can't, because obviously we've seen first baseman in Major League Baseball. Goaltenders can do it for sure, but it's harder. And some people you can practice all you want. There is going to be some physical limitations when it comes to the splits. So,
Jason, I will say I am shocked by the amount of people that it's been the most popular one, I think, by far. The amount of people that think it's scoring a penalty kick in soccer. Like, I really just don't see that one against the legitimate pro goalkeeper.
Dude, I've said that many times. First of all, the average person, how hard do you think they're going to kick the ball? Right? And then with any sort of accuracy, and then kicking it, they're probably going to lean back. So guess what? They'll sky it. Right? Or are they going to have any accuracy on where they're like, are they going to be able to pick it into the corner? Right? If they're a foot or two, because the goalie doesn't even have to move now until you make contact because you're not kicking it hard enough. Mm-hmm. So I'm with you. I think now if it's hitting the empty net in soccer, that's a totally different thing. But I think people, and it's okay, but in sports sometimes the pros make it look so easy. Like, look at pros get stopped by goalies. Look at Canada. At the Copa Americas, the goalie was unreal, made 2 huge saves. in the quarterfinals of Copa America. So, yeah, I'm with you on that one for sure. Hey, guys, I think it's less than 1% on splits. You could be right, Johnny Kip. Yeah, I'm not going to argue with on that one for sure. Could be right. I don't know what the percentage is, but yeah, it's probably pretty low. Because really, like, unless you're in athletics, why would you even need to do the splits? Like, you need to walk if you can and you're able-bodied, of course. But doing the splits, it's not like you just walk. Hey, Bobby, why don't you and I practice the splits? Why? Well, for fun. Yeah. Unless you're going to be a cheerleader, a goaltender, a gymnast. Any other sports do the splits? Like, I don't think soccer goalies need to be able to do the splits. Maybe. I don't even put goalies. I'll put goalies in any sport. Lacrosse, whatever, name the sport. Sure. That position. But gymnastics and yeah, I'm trying to think of any other sports. Can you that you need to do the splits in? Not many. Like, yeah, I can't think of any. So there you go. Hey guys, considering more people play soccer than anything else, the chance of kicking the ball is acceptable level to score a penalty kick. On a professional goalie, though, Jab, it's a very valid point that it is the most played game in the world. It's a very valid point. But so that might increase the odds? Maybe. I still would take a free throw, though. I think a free throw would be the easiest thing for the average person to do. To get it one time out of 10. We're just talking 10%. One time out of 10. Now, so they're going to have some people that are going to be way good and some aren't going to be good. So we're going with the average. Could you do it? Because I think if I asked every listener, okay, we're going to go out today, every listener is going to come to the school and we're going to shoot free throws. How many of you right now are like, I could do 1 out of 10? You get 1 out of 10. I'm going to guess most people are like, I can get 1 out of 10. Doesn't mean they will, but you're pretty confident you get 1 out of 10. For sure. Hey, guys, what about a volleyball serve getting it over the net? Well, I get if the goal is to just get it over the net, fair point. Fair point, right? You can go underhand. You can go overhand. It's not bad. Right? We're just saying get it over the net. You got a bigger space to land it into. That's actually a very good one. I'm kind of liking it. Hey guys, my son Taekwondo class. You're a pair of mixed martial arts. Yeah, splits can be beneficial in some of those. Fair point. No, I like the volleyball one. I like it a lot. Hey Gregor, didn't you see the video? Ask Owanek how hard it is to make a free throw. No, well, like I said, not maybe the most athletic human. Right? He'd probably admit to that. You saw it on video. That was a tough air ball. 425. We'll take a quick break. Return. Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook.
You got a go-to coffee spot, a trusted barber, even a lucky game day jersey. But when it's about looking your absolute best, there's only one name you need. Mr. Dirk. Family run since 1939. We're experts in crafting impeccable tailor-made suits and offering a wide variety of everyday styles. Pair that with personalized one-on-one fittings and the convenience of on-site tailoring. Mr. Dirk elevates your style game. Visit our Edmonton store or explore MrDirk.com. Score big on style with Mr. Dirk.
Hey, Elks fans!
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks Party Bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate football experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave and 118th.
You adore your Audi, value your Volkswagen, baby, your Beamer.
But some of that love fades when repairs take several days and tons of cash for the dealership to do their magic. Let Cochran's Automotive rekindle the flame. They'll professionally repair your import, usually in one day. Audi, BMW, Mercedes, Volkswagen, Honda, and Toyota. Cochran's Automotive will return her to mint condition. Open at 7 a.m. Let Cochran's Automotive repair your automotive air conditioning before things heat up. Cochran's Automotive, 780-452-5001.
CW Eves Troughing is busy. That's why they're looking for experienced troughers to run one of their trucks. To get paid top rates, contact CW Eves Troughing at 780-435-1492 or email info@cweves.com.
The cheesy burger pizza is back at Papa John's. See what happens when you ask for it? Boom! Finally, it's on the menu again for a limited time. Get all the items in the cheesy burger trio or choose between the large cheesy burger pizza for $18.99, cheesy burger papadilla for $9.99, and bacon cheesy burger papa bites for $8.99. All made with sizzling beef, dilly pickles, ooey gooey cheese, and burger sauce. That's right, burger sauce. Get it before it's gone. Better ingredients, better pizza. Better get you some cheesy burger pizza at Papa John's.
The Brick is serving up incredible deals on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Also, from Thursday to Monday, shop our fantastic specialty 5-day deals and find everything you need to outfit your home this summer. Plus, on Saturday, July 20th, enjoy free pop and all beef hot dogs, specialty sales, and fun family activities. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
For over 65 years, Denham Ford has delivered the customer service and value that keeps Albertans moving. And nothing moves Albertans better than Canada's best-selling truck, the Ford F-150. Here now with rates as low as 0% or savings up to $17,000. That's the value you've come to expect from where cars always cost less. 0% or $17,000 off F-150s. Only at Denham Ford in Wetaskiwin or at denhamford.ca.
How are you? Jason Gregor, Declan Kruger on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. If you're a big fan of scouting now, you miss Shane Malloy, we're going to want to get that on the podcast later, or go to jasongregor.com. We'll be up there. Some great insight into scouting and the challenges of it, and the best, if you want to be a little bit more accurate and not prematurely write off players, good timeline there as well from Shane Malloy. Let's get to our Olympic report, of course, because the Olympics unofficially began yesterday. Of course, the opening ceremonies goes tomorrow, but because of some sports, soccer and a few others, began yesterday. The Canadian women victorious over New Zealand today, 2-1, without their head coach, Bev Priestman, who removed herself from the game after the ridiculous drone situation. And we are joined now from CBC Sports for the Olympics. Miles Dichter joins us. Miles, the whole drone situation. Obviously, it's big story. Dumb story is probably a better word about it. Like, what do you make of that and everything that's gone on around it? Sending the staffers home. Priestman, removes herself from a game. What do you make of this whole situation? It's less than ideal to be Captain Obvious for Canada.
Yeah. Hey, Jason. Thanks for having me on. It is a pretty weird situation going on there because if you think about it, what are the chances that your drone is going to get caught in the middle of the air at the Paris Olympics where security is really the highest it's ever been, right? And then what are you really learning from spying on the 28th ranked team in the world in New Zealand, a team that you're probably going to beat anyway as the defending world champions. So the whole kind of risk reward factor didn't really make a lot of sense there. But yeah, Canada came out and its players seemed to not be distracted. Obviously went down early, 1-0 to New Zealand today, but they came back. They win that game 2-1, and the Olympic title defense is on, maybe just with a bit of an asterisk.
And that's the part about it. Like, you're the defending champs. And as you mentioned, the 28th ranked team in the country, like, I'm not even sure what anybody thought you could get. Now, maybe it was overzealous staffers, and somebody above had no idea about it, but it's like, it's not an invisible drone. Like, it's just such a bad idea. I don't know if it was an overzealous staffer or what happened here, but do you think, like, does this blow over easily now because the opening ceremonies haven't even started? And once the opening ceremonies start, people will kind of forget this?
Maybe it's possible that this sort of just blows away, but New Zealand is pushing sort of the international federation for urgent action. I know they had wanted Canada to not be able to earn any points from the game today. We haven't heard where that appeals happened, but the IOC, FIFA, international bodies are doing their own review onto this. Like, the staffers who were sent home, Coach Bev Priestman not coaching that day, the mandatory ethics training that the coaches will have to go through, that was all imposed by the Canadian Olympic Committee. It was self-sanctioned. We're still waiting for the external reviews to come in and for potential punishments to come down from there. So maybe it all blows over. Maybe we don't hear back on those reviews until after the Olympics. Maybe there's nothing there. It truly was just an assistant coach going rogue. But if it was something bigger, we might hear about it pretty soon.
Yeah. Okay. So now we get into the tournament. I know that you cover a lot of basketball. So, you look at the men and the women's programs. The men's program, a lot of people think, hey, they got a real good chance to medal. I don't think anything we saw in any of the lead up games changes that. I think obviously the main question is going to be, their bigs and how they're going to handle, and they're in a pretty tough pool.
Yeah, no, it's they get started pretty quickly here on Saturday against Greece, right? And you have Giannis. You've got Giannis on the other side, and it's like, yeah, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is an amazing player, obviously top 5 in MVP voting, but to in your first game have sort of the question of whether you have the best player on the court is a pretty almost rude awakening to the Paris Olympics. But this is a Canadian men's team that is there, and they're focused. It came out today. They won't be at the opening ceremony tomorrow. It's just too tiring, too long. They want to make sure they're prepared for that game against Greece. I'm pretty sure Giannis is carrying the flag for Greece, so there's a bit of a contrast there. And it's a team that's hungry to win a medal. It's been 24 years since they last made the Olympics. It's a really strong roster. I think they have the second best odds at winning gold, just behind the U.S. on most betting sites. And yeah, the bigs, that'll be an issue. If they play France with Victor Wembanyama, Rudy Gobert, that'll be a tough matchup. Albeit Canada did beat them in an exhibition, but it's a really exciting time to be a fan of Canadian men's basketball, and their run here in Paris should be a memorable one.
Miles Victor joins us from CBC. What about the women? What's your expectations on what they're going to do in this tournament?
Well, the women are sort of awaiting this breakthrough medal, right? They've been at the Olympics. That lost amid all the sort of excitement about the men's team is that the women's team is very good. They're ranked 5th in the world. They've been to the last 3 Olympics. Unfortunately, they haven't played for a medal in any of those. It was 2 quarterfinal losses, and then in Tokyo, they didn't even make the quarterfinals, losing in the knockout stage. In a way, it kind of reminds you of that women's soccer team we were talking about. They were a little higher up, but they get the 2 bronze medals. They finally break through for gold in Tokyo. That's what the women's basketball team is looking for here in Paris. It's that breakthrough, and they have a really interesting roster makeup. Kia Nurse, Bridget Carlton, Aaliyah Edwards have all had great WNBA seasons this year. By their standards, they have a couple of vets, Natalie Chonwa, Kayla Alexander. They've got a high schooler, Silas Swords, who's been playing a ton of minutes in their exhibition games and looking pretty good while doing it, and a couple of college players. So the mix of their team seems to be at the right stage for them to finally win that breakthrough medal. And while we're talking about women's basketball, we can't forget about the 3-on-3 team. It's a team that isn't really spoken about all that much, but they're probably the most dominant Canadian team we have going. You know, they go around the world on their 3-on-3 series, and they pretty much win every tournament they go to. They win every game in every tournament they go to. It's the Plouffe sisters, obviously Alberta. They're all based out in Edmonton with the Plouffe sisters, Casey Bosch and Paige Crozon. They're excellent, and they're as good as really any Canadian at the Olympics to come home with a medal.
Yeah, well, fair point. I think they got a really good chance, might be the favorites at all. Now, there are some other, Canadians that come in the pool. We've got lots of potential medalists. Hammer throw. Are there any athletes you're most interested to watch how they perform at the upcoming Olympics?
Well, you'll start hearing this turn of phrase probably a little bit too often, but I'll take the chance here before their opening ceremony to say that it could be the summer of summer, right? Summer McIntosh is the swimmer, and I think the country, if you don't know her already, if it doesn't know her already, will get to know Summer McIntosh, a 17-year-old swimming phenom. She actually competed in Tokyo at 14 years old and did pretty well, with a 4th place finish there. But now she's broken world records, won tons of world championship medals, gold medals. And so it'll be interesting to see how she sort of performs now that there's lots of expectations on her, and it's going to come at her fast. It's her first race, her first final is on Saturday, and it's sort of against Ariarne Titmus, this Australian who holds the world record in the 400, and Katie Ledecky. So it's going to come at her fast, and I'm really curious to see how she sort of handles all that, and if she can become this swimming star that she's been promised to be.
Yeah, well, it is. What she's done at such a young age at this point is kind of crazy, right? Like I know Penny Alexiak, because she medaled at 16, got a lot of noteworthy press, and rightfully so. But Summer at 14, the fact she even made it and qualified at 14 was quite impressive, and so I look forward to that. Cameron in the hammer throw is definitely a big time not big time favorite, but big time competitor, and one of the favorites in the event. What about Andre DeGrasse? Where do you what's your expectations for him? Are we looking more at the 200 than the 100 at this stage?
Yeah, you're probably right in saying that the 200 is his specialty right now. I think if you look at the 100, I mean, he didn't even qualify for world championships in the 100 last year. He's maybe lost, that quarter step of top end speed to really truly compete in the 100. But the 200, he still seems to have that knack to sort of keep up that stamina, and over the final 100 meters of that race, he does seem to turn it on. And, he's Big Ray Stray. He's competed in 6 Olympic events and won medals in all 6. So it's really tough to count out a guy like that, even if the last 3 or so years haven't been his peak. He'll also anchor the men's 4x100 relay team, which has a really good shot at medaling as well.
Well, it's going to be fun. We look forward to the opening ceremonies. Are you hearing anything, Miles? What should we expect? Anything fun and exciting coming up at the opening ceremonies?
Well, I know we've all heard the rumors that Celine Dion is in France, so that would be fun and exciting if she has any role in the opening ceremony. And really, it's just going to be an opening ceremony that none of us have ever seen before, going along the Seine, each country in its own boat. Should be pretty interesting. So I'm looking forward to just the whole thing.
Awesome, man. Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, Jason.
There you go. That is Miles Dichter joining us from Paris, where you have Canada did get a win today in women's soccer. And we have the opening ceremonies tomorrow, and then races already. You heard that, medals. Hey, they come fast and furious already in the Olympics, man. I love it. I can't wait. I know it's not the ideal times for us, but you know what? You want to get up. I always say this. Hey, if it happens overnight and I'm sleeping, then whatever. I wake up, it's like it's fresh to me, and away we go. I love watching the Olympics. There's so many sports that you don't get to see their true athleticism all year long. So very much looking forward to it. We'll come back. We have 5 questions to get to. Lots of text and speculation for for many of you in the media world. We'll get to that as well. The Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca. And you can always text us 833-401-1440 in our well inbox.
Be melon jolly, not melancholy. Summer is ripe for fun, and some Booster Juice bestsellers are back in season. Watermelon smoothies, including the refreshing Watermelon Wave, a berry burst of strawberries, raspberries, pomegranate, and vanilla frozen yogurt. And fan favorites, Watermelon Explosion, a refreshing burst of bananas, mangoes, and pineapple, both made with watermelon sorbet and probiotic yogurt. All of the watermelon, none of the seeds. Visit a Booster Juice near you today, or download the Booster Rewards app.
Rule number 116. In Waterton, walk with a lean. The wind will always prop you up. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instants, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
Hey, Elks fans.
Jackpot! Touchdown!
Get on the Elks party bus for every home game at On the Rocks for only $35.
Included is a game ticket, round-trip transportation, and a prepaid Coors Light.
Reserve your spot now at ontherocks.com.
And OTR is your go-to for every Euro Cup game.
With $5.25 Heineken.
Their first major trophy.
It's the ultimate
Football
experience.
Canadian or European.
Only at On the Rocks.
Jasper Ave in 118th.
The Brick is serving up incredible deals on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Find everything you need to outfit your home this summer, from kitchen appliances and dining sets to mattresses and electronics. Take advantage of our amazing block party prices and fun family activities. Some exclusions apply. See in store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
If you've ever restored a classic car or seen one, you smile because you know what it took to get that beauty looking pristine. The same is true for men who restore their hair. Nothing but smiles for miles. Patients from all over Canada travel to see me, Dr. Vance Elliott, to have their hair loss treated and remedied. I've been helping people for 28 years. My practice is outfitted with the most innovative and latest hair transplant techniques and technology. And I do it myself. Contact us at drvanceelliott.com.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Welcome back, Jason Gregor. Declan Kruger with you on Sports 1440 Oilers Nation, YouTube and Facebook. Always presented by PlayAlberta.ca, where you can get in the game. It's the Daily Grind, our lovely game on Thursdays. $1,000 a day for 20 years. You know what? Which is $7.2 million. So it adds up. It's pretty good. But you would you just have a nice little reminder every day. You know, you wake up, you have a bad date. Click. Comes to your phone, ding. There is your next $1,000. It's a pretty good deal. I think most would take it, and most would be quite excited about it. Let's get to 5 questions brought to you by The Brick, and you only have a few days left to get in on some great deals, 40% off of mattresses. We've got also 25% off bedroom and dining packages at The Brick and thebrick.com.
It's time for 5 questions on the Jason Gregor Show.
Flyers, thoughts on the deal for Konechny and the Flyers?
Well, this is a great deal for Travis Konechny. 8.75 for 8 years when his career high is 68 points. Now, he's 26 years of age. Right? He's 2015 draft. And so even if they believe that he's still got more, like how much more? If we go by the 10 point to 1 million ratio for, offensive players, that means this guy's got to be an 87 point player. That's 20 more points than his career high. It's going to be difficult. So I like him, energy guy, but yeah, to me, that's a little bit of an overpay. It starts 8 years. The last few years of that deal are not going to be great.
Question number 2. Speaking of contracts, what was the worst pro sports contract that you can think of?
The Islanders goaltender.
DiPietro.
15-year deal. Yeah, without question.
Yeah, that's a good one.
You?
I mean, probably. Well, listen, the year, I think it was the summer of 2016, the Lakers gave Timofey Mozgov and Luol Deng both 4 years, $64 million contracts.
That's a good
Luol Deng, by the end of that contract, was being paid $18 million to sit at home and play video games. And Timofey Mozgov was just not very good ever by NBA standards. So those two are up there. But I honestly might say, and it hurts me to say because I did like him in his prime, Joakim Noah getting 4 years, $72 million from the Knicks was atrocious at the time and just became so much worse the whole way it went.
Yeah.
So I might say that one.
That's a good one.
Question number 3. Phoenix Suns owner Matt Ishbia has reportedly wants to bring hockey back to Phoenix.
You knew this was coming.
Using this as a segue, are there any markets that are rarely brought up in the conversation of expansion or relocation that you think would be a good landing spot for an NHL club?
When I look at a market, and a lot of it's going to come down to the team in the market, the ownership, and how good they are. Because if you look at some of the markets that were never considered hockey markets, no one would have thought Nashville would become a good hockey market. They like Smashville, their fans love it. Now, they've never won a cup. They've been to one Stanley Cup final. They've never had an elite offensive player. Right? Like Forsberg's good. He's not elite, right? Roman Yossi's a really good player. But they've never had that. They've had good defenders. They've had good goaltending. They've never had that, oh my God, this forward is money. Yet their fans love it. So I think it comes down to hockey. Hockey is such an exciting game that if you have a good ownership group that has a decent plan, you can have success. You're not going to always become Tampa and win or Florida and win. That's obviously the harder it gets with more teams, but I still believe the amount of people in Arizona. And so you're going to take the Suns owner who understands TV marketing, right? Like, look what they've done with the Suns to get their games back on TV. So their average fans sitting at home can watch the games. Like, duh, no brainer. So I think honestly, and he has the facility. So I would say there's an obvious one, but as far as expansion, relocation, Houston has been mentioned lots, but to me, that's the one that makes the most sense. It's a massive city. They have the Houston Aeros. There's a hockey tradition there for a long time. I get that it's not a hockey traditional market, but neither was Dallas. And look how successful the Stars have been.
Question number 4. The Canadian women's Olympic soccer team won 2-1 today against New Zealand. It was Evelyn Viens and Chloe Lacasse scoring the goals for the club. Who will be the leading scorer for the team come tournament's end?
It's a good question. Still want to say Janine Becky. So I'll go with her.
I like it. Also, shout out the person who texted in that Bronny's contract Already might be the worst contract in sports. Appreciate that. Question number 5.
Yeah, but did you see how much money they made in sales on Bronny James paraphernalia?
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
So I think they've almost recovered his salary, have they not?
Oh, I'm sure they have.
Yeah.
Surpassed it even,
Yeah.
if nothing else. Question number 5. We've heard of desert island books and movies, but if you had a desert island sports game or sports event that you could watch on replay on a tape, what would it be?
Oh, man, that's a really good question. Do you have one?
I have 3.
All
But
right.
I'll narrow it down to one, obviously. One is the 2007 Grey Cup, where the Riders won. I was at the game, so holds a special place in my heart. 2 is the 2010 Saskatchewan Roughriders season opener against Montreal, where they won 54-51 in overtime. And 3 is Game 4 of the first round of the 2023 NBA playoffs, where Jimmy Butler had his 56-point performance. So one of those 3.
Hmm.
And I'd probably go with Jimmy Butler's.
All right. What can I watch? Well, if I'm just looking at pure exciting games that I've been attending to, I was working, but the 2005 Grey Cup at BC Place was one of the most entertaining games I've ever seen. So that would be one. If I go back to my youth, I would probably say Game 7 of 87, because Glenn Anderson scored the deciding goal. He was my favorite player as a kid. So that would be it. And Game 3 of the 87 Canada Cup. That was a hell of a game. So, yeah, that would probably be one of those 3. The Canada Cup game that was outstanding. But man, there's a lot. Like, you know what? Honestly, that's a really good question.
You know, honorable mention, if it's on tape, the only ever multi-interception game I had in high school football. Wouldn't mind watching that one on repeat, just for 2 plays, but pretty special to me. So maybe throw that one in there.
Well, if you're talking personal ones, yeah, I would. That'd be a one. Hey, when we won the Jungle Beat Championship, I want to put up there for sure. But I would go with another game that was very memorable that I remember. Well, actually, you know what? It was very short lived, but I would want to have the 1996 Donovan Bailey 100 meter again. I remember exactly where I was. It's a proud moment for Canada. I was out at the old Parkland Arena. Anybody who ever played men's league out there? And I remember they had the upstairs. So we were playing and our game finished and we had time because it was a Saturday night. We had time to get upstairs. We had beers and wings and we watched Donovan Bailey win the gold medal. And it's still one of the greatest in-studio interviews I've ever had. He came in studio for an hour that would have been 2006 or 7. 2007, I think it was. And Donovan came in for an hour. And man, it was unreal stuff for me. Like, he was fantastic. I just loved that he hadn't lost bravado, talking about Michael Johnson and talking about the gold medal and talking about steroid accusations and everything. It was great. Still one of my all-time favorite interviews I've ever done with any athlete, just because he was so raw and real, didn't hold back anything. It was great. And the fact that I'd watched him in 96 and still remember like everybody going crazy. It was a big moment because of course Ben Johnson 8 years earlier, and there's kind of people felt bad, even though we shouldn't have felt bad because Carl Lewis, one of the biggest cheats ever, allegedly. But and they didn't care, yet he got caught. Did he cheat? Sure. They all did back then. It was basically who was the fastest guy on the juice. Let's call a spade a spade. That's what it was. So that's another good one. I'm curious. Listeners would probably have like their one memorable game of their life. So, hey guys, the Wings Avs, the revenge game on Lemieux from Mark. Oh, I could see why. Oh, Mark, good one. You're a Wings fan? Yeah, that'd be a very good one. Hey boys, 2010 Canada USA Crosby golden goal, unreal from Fat Efron. Yeah, I could see that. I had a few buddies who were in the building at that game. They loved it. How could you not? Hey, boys, Game 5, OT winner, McDavid against Calgary. Never will get old, from Lance. I see that one too, right? It's your arch rival. Oiler fans hadn't had some success in a while in the postseason, got you back to the to the third round for the first time since 2006. Big one. Hey, guys, Joe Carter. Hey, you know what? I remember that one too. Vintage. That was on my birthday. So I know exactly where I was. I was partying with my buddy in the rig. That was loads of fun. So that was a great game too, man. Oof. Love it. Hey, Greg's, they had unbelievable fries at the old Parkland Arena. Very good memory, Marty. Those were epic fries. Hey, guys, what about the Bobby Bonilla contract? Yeah, but see, the Bobby Bonilla contract, like he played well for a long time in that deal, right? And didn't he just defer payments? Wasn't that what it was? It was the deal with the Mets, though, was it not?
It was, yeah. Like
Right?
that
It
one
got-
these days, it's almost just kind of more like funny than it is a bad contract because, like you said, he did play well in his time there, and the deferred payments, obviously, he still gets the checks for them. But as far as his actual time with the Mets, it worked out well.
Yeah, because he got the he had the deferred payment salary, right? It's crazy, but it wasn't so because even if he was paying, right? They had they did buy out he had, like, I think at the time it was $6 million remaining on his deal. I might have to look it up. So here's actually, you know what? Now that I look at it, it was a dumb decision. So in 2000, the Mets, I just looked it up here. So in 2000, the Mets agreed to buy out the remaining $5.9 million. So it was the buyout that was dumb. However, instead of paying him the $5.9 million at the time, the Mets agreed to make annual payments of $1.2 million for 25 years. Why would you do that? What? So they owed him 5.9, but instead said, hey, we'll pay you 1.2 for 25 years. Which accountant signed off on that? Who? There's got to be. Well, the Mets owner was invested. Bernie Madoff was invested, compromised double digits returns, and they were poised to make a significant profit if the Madoff account delivered. But that did not work out. Oh my God. That is crazy. I didn't know that he was only owed that much. So yeah, so the contract wasn't bad, but the decision to buy him out was. Ooh. Nuts. Brett Saberhagen gets $250K a year from the Mets for 25 years. That goes until 2029. Manny Ramirez is still getting paid by the Red Sox. Did you know that?
Oh.
Now, some of those are deferred payments, but the deferred buyout, honestly, I didn't even remember that's what it was. That is unreal. Why in your right in any, like, so they thought they were going to win in Madoff, so they needed, like, what? I'm not, hey, we only owe you $6 million, but let us pay you out over 25 years at $1.2 million. Oh my God. Bobby Bonilla must have had to keep a straight face on. Oh, well, geez. Oh, okay. I guess I'll take this. That is amazing, man. That is utterly, Bobby Bonilla, that might go down as the greatest negotiation of all time. Can you think of a better negotiation? You were going to get paid $5.9 million. But you elected to just say, guess what? We'll pay you $1.2 million for 25 years. Utterly outstanding. That's $30 million instead of $5.9 million. Even if he puts that money in at $6 million to invest that, how many years would it take to make 5 times your money? Because even if he's making 10%, going from 6 mil to then 6.6 to then, so then you're up to 7.3, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Oof, God. That's a good question. I might have to figure that out during the commercial break. Compound interest, 10 years on $6 million. How long would it take to get to 30? Who knows? Let's get to Declan Kruger Sports 1440 update brought to you by Booster Juice. Visit Booster Juice today and try the cookies and cream Booster Ball. Almond butter, maple syrup, coconut, and gluten-free cookies all squished into one yummy little ball. Right now at Booster Juice.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
And for your Sports 1440 update, we start with a piece of history in the MLB today as Dylan Cease joins Joe Musgrove as the only Padres pitcher in franchise history to record a no-hitter. Cease, of course, in 9 innings pitched, had 9 strikeouts and only 3 walks en route to a 3-0 win for the Padres over the Nationals. Other finals from today in the MLB, it was the Blue Jays losing big 13-0 against the Tampa Bay Rays, giving up 16 hits in that one. Other finals include the Dodgers over the Giants 6-4, the Rangers in a tight one over the White Sox 2-1, Tigers blanking the Guardians 3-0, Orioles over the Marlins in 10 7-6. 2 other games today in the MLB will be the Braves and the Mets in about 5 minutes time here. And then the late game will see the Oakland Athletics in LA to take on the Angels. Scores from Olympic women's soccer earlier today. It was Spain over Japan 2-1, Brazil over Nigeria 1-0, Germany over Australia 3-0, the United States over Zambia by that same score, France over Colombia 3-2, and of course, Canada over New Zealand 2-1. Following goals in the 45th minute and the 79th minute after surrendering the opening goal in the 13th. Canada moves to 1-0 in Group A play. News out of the CFL and the Edmonton Elks as McLeod Bethel-Thompson has been fined by the league for comments on CFL scheduling. Per league policy, the fine amount has not been revealed. Other news in the CFL is Week 8 is underway in about 27 minutes time here between the Saskatchewan Roughriders and Montreal Alouettes. Both starting quarterbacks for the clubs will be out for this one. Cody Fajardo out for the Owls and Shea Patterson out for the Riders. Travis Konechny has signed an 8-year, $70 million extension with the Philadelphia Flyers, the $8.75 million average annual value, and $70 million total, the largest contract in Flyers history. Other pieces of news in the sporting world as the Denver Broncos have agreed to sweeten Cortland Sutton's deal with $1.5 million in incentives on already a $13.5 million base salary. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Justin Fields did receive quarterback 1 reps this week in practice with Russell Wilson out with a calf injury. In hour 4 of the Jason Gregor Show, we will be joined by Mark Spector of Rogers Sportsnet and Geno Lewis, wide receiver for the Edmonton Elks. I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
Sports 1440 in West Edmonton Mall and Wetaskiwin. CKJR is a Stingray radio station.
Download the free radio player app and listen wherever you go.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave convinces dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Now, all sizes of premium roast coffee at McDonald's have a new low price starting at $1 plus tax for a small. It's great if you love great tasting coffee. $1 small premium roast coffee every single day. Must be McCafe. Plus tax at participating restaurants in Canada. Excludes delivery.
Albatross Roofing and Construction is hiring experienced flat roofers and sheet metal fabricators and installers in Edmonton. Must have SBS modified bitumen experience and valid CSTS certification. Enjoy top wages, benefits, and career growth. Apply at roofingalbatross.ca. Join their expert team today.
Hey, it's Scott from Sherwood and St. Albert Dodge. It's our final clear out of classic Ram 1500 trucks, and I do mean final. This is your last chance to get 25% off a brand new Ram truck. We still have some inventory left, but when they're gone, they're really gone. Or get an iconic Jeep Wrangler with up to $7,500 off. 0% financing available on every model. And we have a couple of the rare 500 horsepower 392 Wranglers in stock now. St. Albert and Sherwood Dodge, Edmonton's best rated Ram and Jeep dealers.
Jason Gregor. Declan Kruger with you on Sports 1440, Oilers Nation, YouTube, and Facebook. Thubba writes in, hey, boys, what about the Kawhi Leonard buzzer beater? Watching Embiid walking away crying. Unreal. That's the game you'd want to have on repeat. Tony's going with the Ben Scriven shutout, 59 saves in his NHL debut. Well, it wasn't his debut, but yes, it was Oilers record 59 save shutout. They were just getting pelted by the San Jose Sharks, and Scrivens is just all over the place. That was a pretty memorable performance. So we got a lot of people texting the Sam Gagner 8-point game. It was really one of the highlights of the decade of darkness. He goes, true story. I had recorded that game, and no joke, I would watch it probably 5 times a year just to make myself feel better and remind myself why I was an Oilers fan. From Douglas. That's valid, man. I get it. I could see it. You'd be really like, those are some lean years for Oilers fans. You made it through. You probably don't want to ever think about it again because, you know what's funny is you'll remember those games way more than all of the bad ones. But like, if I asked you right now, what was the worst game the Oilers played? Well, they had a lot of them. So, you know, they did get spanked 10-2 against Chicago. Remember when Oilers fans were chanting, we want 10 for the opposing team to score? Now that the Oilers are good, maybe you can laugh about it. I don't know, but God, we could have a whole show of, you know, reliving the decade of darkness. What was just when you thought you'd hit the lowest point, something else came up, didn't it? 833-401-1440 in our E-Well inbox as we get to the spec report brought to you by GS Construction, who locally owned and operated. They do tons in the community for charity. They sponsor so many different events. They care about the community, and they put their money where their mouth is and always step up and support. It's GS Construction as we welcome in Mark Spector to the program. Spec, how you doing?
Doing great. Jay, how's it going today?
Good. Hey, if you were on a deserted island, Spec, and you only had one sporting event that you could watch over and over, what would it be?
An event. If you're giving me an event, does that mean I get like the whole Canada Cup when it was 6-5, 6-5, 6-5, and 87?
Well, we had said one.
Thing?
Well, we said one game, so you could pick game. You could pick game 3.
Yeah, I could pick game 3. That'd be a place to start. That's a good question. There's a lot of things, right? Oh boy, a lot of Olympic moments that at the moment were unbelievable. You know, I heard you talking about Donovan Bailey for sure. Yeah. But man, if I'm on a desert island, that thing only lasted 10 seconds. I know. Yeah, that's tough part. I need something that's going to take 3 hours, man.
Yeah. Well, like one of your Cubbies games in extra innings where they finally won.
Yeah, well, the time Kerry would he strike out like 17
20
guys or something like that?
Oh, no, 20.
20 guys. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
Against the Seattle Mariners, I think that was pretty cool. So there's one. But you know what? There's so many. That's a tough order, man, to knock it down to one game. I mean, the Vancouver, the gold medal game in 2010 was one hell of a hockey game. I wouldn't take that off my list.
I can't believe you're not picking the Cubbies 4-3 win 2015 to get there. Like, dude, that was the only championship for your team in your lifetime.
Yeah, I'd watch that game again for sure. It was the rain delay late after they gave up the late home run. Looked like they were going to blow it. Then they won it. That was pretty cool. You know, there's been some unbelievable Grey Cups, like some unbelievable Grey Cup games over the years that, you know, I can't even section them all off. When I was a kid watching those 5 in a row that the Eskimos won, there's a couple of blowouts, but a couple of great games. Weren't they down at halftime to Ottawa like 21-6 or something like that?
Yep.
And they came back and won. Tom Wilkinson, everyone in the States thinks Warren Moon played all those games. Tom Wilkinson pulled them out of the well there in that game so they could win that 5th Grey Cup. So that was cool. Listen, she's a long list. It'd take a couple jugs of beer for us to settle down on one of them. That's for sure.
Spec, I know you're huge in skiing Marmot. It's a place that you've been a long time. And Jasper Park, the Jasper Park Twitter account has just tweeted this out. The most significant structural damage is concentrated on the west side of town, southwest of Miette Avenue. Firefighting efforts have prevented significant damage to much of the infrastructure on the east end of town, which is fantastic. There was also damage to a number of bridges throughout the national park, including the Moberly Bridge, the old Fort Point Bridge. Bridges on the Iceway Parkway will need to be assessed for structural damage as well. So, obviously it's terrible, but man, those firefighters, when we talk about heroes and tough jobs, man, that one ranks right up there. And to fight that fire and to save a lot of the structures on the east end of Jasper is amazing.
Yeah, it must. I was thinking of those guys. Like, could you imagine being there when, first of all, they kick all the people out and the residents and the citizens, everyone evacuates, and that's okay. I'm a firefighter. I signed up for this to hang around and be the guy. And then they start getting rid of emergency personnel because they don't have the right breathing apparatuses, right? So now I'm still left there, and even the people who are my colleagues, they're getting sent home. There must have been a moment there where there wasn't many guys left in that town, and ladies doing that job, who must have looked around, and it was sort of, there's a few of us against Mother Nature here, and I'll tell you what, man, Mother Nature doesn't lose many. So could you imagine the feeling being in that town when there's nobody there, there's no tourists, there's no cars, it's black and a little bit of orange in the sky. And that, what did they say? The flames were 300 to 400 feet high and moving at 50 meters a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? How you think you're going to win that fight? And it sounds like they've done an unbelievable job in preserving, the lion's share of Jasper, which is all we can ask for here.
Yeah, and then you throw in. I was watching it last night. They're talking about the fire was so hot that it would create lightning strikes, and this happened for the Fort McMurray fire too. Like, just think about that's how strong and powerful it is. It's creating lightning strikes that were then going towards Hinton and stuff. And it's just for those people that are involved. And man, I can't imagine just how emotionally draining it is, physically draining it is. And what you see, and you just stand there and watch sometimes. And even though it is your job and you've done an amazing job, a lot of them probably still feel helpless because they didn't get to save every structure. And
it's, you're playing for a tie when you're fighting a fire that big. Come on, you're not going to push it back. You're just trying to steer it away from the vast majority of town. I don't know how the JPL's doing because it's on the west side of town there.
Well, it's not. The JPL lots of it was taken.
Yeah, I'm sure they've lost a lot of those cabins and a lot of the JPL. And you know what? I mean, Fairmont is a big, giant multinational, and they'll figure it out. They'll rebuild something as nice or better than what they had. I worry a little less about giant corporations, obviously, than the, guys like our friend Brian Rode up there, who's been working at Marmot for about 40 some years.
Mm-hmm.
He's just got a regular little house up there, and he raised his family. I hope that the fire never touched their house, their family. They're outside of Hinton right now, kind of hunkering down, and who knows how many weeks till they let people back in. But could you imagine if you're sitting at somewhere else wondering if you had a house or not, if you had possessions, right? If you had all your photo albums, if you had everything in your life, or do you have nothing, right? And you don't know yet. It must be unbelievably hard.
Yeah, for sure. So our thoughts for everybody out there, for sure. Spec, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, and I think once the opening ceremonies come, it's probably not going to be discussed. I know New Zealand thought that Canada should not get any points for their match. That seems a little odd to me. Like, I don't know how much you think you could deduct from having the drone. It was obviously an absolutely moronic decision for the staffers to do it, but what do you make of New Zealand trying to ask for Canada to get no points from their match today?
Well, listen, I think everything's on the table when you do something as boneheadedly stupid as the Canadians did. You didn't act reasonably. Why should anybody else?
Oh, okay.
Right. I guess what I'd say, I watched that game from start to finish, and I want to know who the person is who thought they had to spy on New Zealand to beat them. I mean, Canada got scored on early and had the ball the rest of the game. Right.
Yeah.
Vastly superior team today, playing under the conditions without their head coach, with a scandal swirling around them. They were the better team by 5 times over New Zealand. Could you imagine if none of this would have happened? It would have been a 3-0 game. So listen, all bets are off. Canada did what they did. If someone strips the points from them, that's their problem, I say.
Yeah. Do you think they will, though, realistically?
Well, it's FIFA, man. You go try to predict what FIFA does. I mean, it's FIFA and the Olympics and I wouldn't put it past them. You can't predict what these organizations do. You go try to figure out the IOC one day and get back to me. I don't know what they'll do, but if that's the conversation, Canada brought it on themselves.
Well, they do have a pretty good reputation of being upstanding. So that, that's what they got going for them. That's somewhat being
Canada, the IOC.
Yeah, the IOC spec. I'm being somewhat facetious there. So, a really long-standing history of standing up and doing the right thing. So
you're doing the right thing. Yeah, nobody ever took a bribe in the IOC that I've ever known of.
yeah. No suitcases full of money. That never happened. No, not there. As we look now, and it's been just over 24 hours, spec, and you look at the Stan Bowman situation, and I think he's going to be judged on what it does. I saw SACE, the Sexual Abuse Center of Edmonton, made a statement today about the Oilers and Bowman, and I liked their little last line. Hey, you know what? Maybe they could make a donation to our center. And that's what I said. For Bowman and the Oilers, you can say all the right things. It's now going to be based on their actions, and I think it's fair and completely fine that their actions are going to be scrutinized a lot closer, because they're the ones that brought this on, right? It was their decision to say, hey, we're going to bring in Stan Bowman. That's fine if you want to do it, but then you got to deal with the consequences. And there will be, I think, more of a focus from a lot of their fans, and I know myself personally, to say, okay, you said all the right things. Now I want to see you actually do it.
Yeah, and does it affect their hiring processes, right? Listen, this is a team that hasn't been afraid to bring in a person with issues in their past. They brought Jake Virtanen in just a couple of weeks after he got out of court, found not guilty on a sexual assault charge. They brought him into this organization. They brought Evander Kane in. He's had his day in court. They brought Corey Perry in because he got released by the Blackhawks. Will that change? Jason, do you expect that they look at those sorts of things? Like, this has been the organization of second chances. Is this the last second chance they're going to give, or does this mean they're going to give more of them?
It would seem odd if it was the last one, wouldn't it?
Well, it seems to me it would.
Yeah. Like that I would kind of be surprised, to be bluntly honest. I'd be like, so this is where you're drawing the line? No more? Yeah, that would be perplexing to me, to say the least, if that was something that they considered at this point. So we'll see. But now they can turn their focus, of course, Holloway and Broberg. No arbitration rights. I don't see those contracts being very difficult. Jeff Jackson was on record as saying, you know what, there wasn't going to be any real discussions with Draisaitl's camp until the GM's in place. So the GM's hired as his day one on the job. It's going to take a week at least, I think, to get to know the staff and, break down everything. The Draisaitl, if I asked you today on July 25th, what do you think the Draisaitl extension looks like? And do you think he gets an extension before the start of the season or before training camp?
Yeah, not before the start of training camp. I suspect. I think they need a little certainty here. To me, the priorities are this. Sure, you're signing Holloway and Broberg. That's a no-brainer. They got to find some cap space here, Jason. Right?
Okay.
They still have to find some cap space. To me, that's, Draisaitl. Everyone's had their preliminary conversations. There's not a ton of pressure here. They got to find some cap space, and where's that going to come from? Is that, is that still something that Evander Kane's contract's going to solve? Does it become a Cody Ceci thing? How do we do that? What are we doing here? That's Stan Bowman's. To me, that's the first thing he's got to figure out. Once they've got some certainty going forward on they could project their cap out, and they've got their team for next season. Now you can say, okay, let's figure out Draisaitl. I don't think he'll be signed by camp. I'm on record saying he's going to sign, I'm going to say, a 4-year deal. So I don't, I don't really care when it happens. I think it will happen. Is it going to happen early in the season? Is it going to happen during camp? Whatever. I think Draisaitl will sign here, and it won't be, to me, it won't be a 7 or 8 year deal. Could be wrong. There will be one on the table for him. But to reiterate, to me, Bowman's biggest issue right now is, where's his cap space coming from to sign these young guys? How are we going to do that?
Yeah, well, I think they're going to sign the contracts either way, because they don't have, you're allowed to be over the cap in the summertime. And then it's all coming down to Evander Kane's health. And we know he's not going to have surgery. He's going to try to rehab it and repair everything. and see what happens when you come to training. I don't think they're going to, the cap situation itself, I don't think that gets solved. And the Draisaitl extension really has nothing to do with that because it doesn't start until next season anyway. So I look at, so you think Draisaitl is going to be less than 7 or 8? You think he's more 4 or 5?
Well, I think so. Yeah, I do. I think my reasoning is that he already signed a long-term deal and spent the back half of that being underpaid by industry standard. I don't think he'll make the same mistake again. I think he'll give himself a chance to sign a contract here and then sign one more contract, because the cap, by all accounts, Jay, is going up over the next 4 years. It's going to go up every year unless we get a COVID or a lockout or some crazy thing. So I don't think he'll make the same move twice. I think he'll sign a shorter deal this time.
All right. We'll see. Spec, have an awesome Thursday. We will chat with you tomorrow.
All right. Thanks, Jay.
There you go. That's Mark Spector in the Spec Report, brought to you by GS Construction. The Elks, in case you missed it, Bethel Thompson looks like he's going to be the starting quarterback again on Sunday. He's been fined an undisclosed amount for his comments after the game, ripping the league for their scheduling. The Elks did play 2 games in 5 days, then had a bye week, and then played 2 games in 5 days again. So they went Sunday. They played Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So technically, it's 6. So 4 days in between games is probably the better, accurate way to say it. So twice with 4 days in between. Didn't like it. Voices his pleasure. Gets fined for it. Now, if you can get that fired up on the field and put the ball in the end zone, that would be just as impressive, I think, in the eyes of fans. We'll come back. We got lots to get to at 833-401-1440 in our text line on Draisaitl, on Bowman. We still have lots of thoughts about that. The Elks, and not a great story coming down right now from Rick Westhead regarding the women's football or soccer. Well, not the women's and men's soccer program. So not ideal. We'll get to that next on the Gregor Show, presented by PlayAlberta.ca.
The summer road lays ahead. Your potential destinations are endless. Volvo Cars Edmonton gives you choice to match. Right now, lease a 2024 Volvo XC90 from 0% for qualifying loyal customers, or save $7,000 on all new 2024 XC60 recharge plug-in hybrid models. All demo vehicles come with a free 10-year, 1 million kilometer warranty. No matter what you decide this summer will become, your first choice is Volvo Cars Edmonton. VolvoCarsEdmonton.com, 1205 101 Street Southwest.
Silent Ice Sports and Entertainment is an innovative market leader across Western Canada, with sports and entertainment properties including the Spruce Grove Saints, the Junior Prospects Hockey League, Silent Rides Charter Company, the Hockey Super League, and the newly launched Female Super League. Silent Ice also owns the Western Hockey League Seattle Thunderbirds and operates the Morinville AAA Arena. The Silent Ice Center, a new state-of-the-art entertainment facility, is open in Nisku, which features 2 sheets of ice, including a 1,600-seat arena and a restaurant with a viewing area.
I take possession of my commercial space in 3 months. I need lighting. I need a fire alarm. I need data. I need a generator. I need panels.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Projects team reporting. We design, build, and construct all the electrical systems for your projects. Need everything to work right? Get the Action Electrical project team on your site.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
The Brick is serving up incredible deals on items in every department. Find up to 25% off dining and bedroom packages, up to 40% off mattresses, and up to $840 off sectionals and sofas. Also, from Thursday to Monday, shop our fantastic specialty 5-day deals and find everything you need to outfit your home this summer. Plus, on Saturday, July 20th, enjoy free pop and all beef hot dogs, specialty sales, and fun family activities. Some exclusions apply. See in-store for details. The Brick, saving you more.
Diablo Boots has been open for business for 60 years, selling Canadian-made quality boots. Diablo has Canada West work, biker, and cowboy boots with fixable soles and heels. So why buy boots like Aria, Justin, or Red Wing that are made in China? Get your money's worth with Diablo's Canada West tough, comfortable work boots. So save on boots by Save On Foods, 3340 Gateway Boulevard on the east side of Save On Foods. And does Diablo sell the best boots in town? You betcha.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert. Getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
I gotta testify. I'm up in the spot looking extra fly. For the day I die.
Paris Olympics. The skateboarders who are on their way today to see the Olympic skate park for the first time. The bus got lost. Then it had a minor accident. The athletes got off the bus, grabbed their skateboards, and they skated the final 2 kilometers through the streets of Paris. Hey, why not? Like, obviously, there's no pressure. It wasn't like they were racing right away, but that's a good little story. Lance had forwarded that to us from Kelly Vanderbeek. So I like it. It's good. Let's get to the Elks Report, brought to you by Legacy Heating and Cooling. Home to no payments, no interest for 1 year on your AC unit. Stay cool all summer long at legacyheating.ca. And we are joined by all-star receiver for the Edmonton Elks. As hey, they threw him the ball. We talked about this for a few weeks. Hey, throw him the ball. Look what'll happen. And suddenly he's getting some catches. As Gino Lewis joins us. Gino, welcome back to the show, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. Thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Hey, no problem. Gino, was it frustrating for you? Like, I get if a guy's not catching balls because maybe some things are, but if you're not getting balls thrown your way as a receiver, how do you go about making that change? The last few weeks, they've got you more involved, and obviously we've seen the results, but prior to that, there wasn't a lot of balls thrown your way. How frustrating was it? What happened to make that change?
Yeah, me, the competitor that I am, and the player that I am, it was absolutely frustrating. But the thing about me and my situation is, like, I've been in situations like that before too. So it was kind of a situation where I also know how to handle it. And honestly, man, just praying to God and just knowing that, giving him some of my battles and my struggles that I go through, just letting them handle things, and everything going to turn out the way it needs to be. But for me, it's just keep grinding. At some point in time, it got to turn, and when the opportunity comes, just make the plays. And that's always what I go out there to try to do.
So looking at the offense, it being rolling for the most part, obviously you want to win some games, but what do you feel went wrong last week for your offense? Really kind of the first game where you guys were just unable to get things done, unable to get into the end zone. What was missing from the offensive attack last week?
Yeah, no, I just think it was a lot going on, just in the sense of, we had some good field position, but we just couldn't get things, consistently going. I feel as though, even the quarterback situation, I think, just rhythm wise, like me playing, when I played quarterback in high school, I understand, having a rhythm and, being in it and just being able to do your thing. So, I'm sure that had also played a part in it, but at the same time, it's just like when things happen and when things go on, you just got to find a way to adjust and play the game and do your job. So it's just we all just were probably on the same page, and we just had to make sure that, this week in practice and stuff like that, we all know what's going on, spend some extra time on the field after, and just make sure we all on the same page.
There was a big change a few weeks ago for your team as Chris Jones, head coach, GM, was fired, and they promoted Geroy Simon and Jarius Jackson as interim GM and head coach, respectively. What's been the most noticeable difference since the coaching change in your eyes?
Honestly, a lot of stuff is the same, but I just think J-Jack and Giro, they got their little wrinkles that they put into it, and I would just say, some things in practice are a little more easier for us and things like that. But overall, we're still going out there. We working hard, man, a lot of the foundation is already set. So, you know, we just going out there working and just trying to be one, man, just trying to get some more commodity with each other and just figure out a way to have all three phases of the game going at one time, the offense, defense, and special teams, and just get one win. You know, it's a one game season for us each week, and that's all we focus on is getting a win.
Gino Lewis joins us, receiver for the Edmonton Elks. And Gino, it has to be challenging. Like, football is unlike any other sport. Some teams can lose 6 games, so that might be 10 days or 12 days. In football, it's, you know, with the bye week, that's 7 weeks. Like, that's a long time. Mm-hmm. And, you know, frustration is inevitable to set in. What's the best way to try to avoid it? Because unfortunately, there's guys on this team that have been through this last year when you started 0-8.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, honestly, I feel as though we got to use that also as motivation. Like, we got to find a way to, you know, use that to know that we don't want to do this again. Like, we don't want to be the team to keep, you know, being the one to lose. Because me personally, man, I hate losing more than I love winning, and it does get frustrating. And when you lose, the little things matter even more. You know, the attitudes and you know, the feelings and how people looking at things, that all plays a part. So it's like, once you get that first win, you know, that's when you have to find a way to, you know, keep that momentum going. And, you know, for us, it's just about believing in each other and believing you're going to win from the beginning of the game to the end of the game, like expecting to win and things like that. So, you know, it's about getting the young guys to understand that and getting them to understand that, you know, now that we're on this field and now that we're this many weeks in, you know, that rookie thing, that's over with, and let's go out there and play ball.
Gino Lewis joins. So you look to Hamilton, Gino, and how do you feel? What's the best strength your offense has that you need to use and exploit against Hamilton on Sunday?
I mean, for us, I definitely think, you know, we got one of the best receiving corps in the league. So I think we got to use us. You know, we got to definitely get the running game going. Use KB and Leak back there, and you know, just try to put ourselves in positive positions and throughout the game, and not make the situational penalties that might hurt us and you know, just the bad plays that we do that bring us back. So we just got to make sure we just focus on our job. You know, do your job, do the things that got you here, because everybody here is talented. So, you know, we're all here for a reason. We got to do our job and just focus on the little things. Man, the little things, you know, make something even bigger than what it is. So if we just focus on the little things, man, the goal that we're trying to get to is right there for us.
When you mentioned the running game, and your offense has kind of been one-dimensional. You haven't been able to get the running game going. And I understand the receiving corps is good. You want to throw the ball, but in football, you want to have a semblance where the other team at least doesn't know what's coming. If they know your quarterback's dropping back 85% of the time, it's a little bit easier for them. So from a receiver perspective, how can you guys help the running game? What has to happen to get the running game on track?
No, I just think for the running game, you know, I think we just have to be on the same page in the sense of the coverages that we see and, you know, the fronts that are the D-line is showing and things like that, because a lot of that stuff plays a big part on where each offensive line is blocking and things like that. So it's more so of everybody just being on the same page of, you know, where we have to be and who you have to block, you know, because sometimes even with receivers, we got to communicate with the offensive lineman to know if we got to block a certain person and a certain person like that. So, you know, I just think we got to just keep giving a second effort in the run game. And once we do that, man, and we get on those blocks, I know we'll get them guys going. And, you know, once they get going, it just opens everything up.
Gino, do you need like an in-dressing room pizza eating contest to get guys fired up?
Hey, man, listen, right now, if that's going to work, then that's good. But honestly, you know, whatever we got to do, man, to you know, find a way to, you know, just believe in each other, believe in this team, and, you know, man, just get that first win, man. I feel as though we can do it. You know, we just got to focus and lock in and just, you know, everybody be used to the best of their ability. And I think once we get there and we do that, man, and we get that first win, more trust building, and, you know, we're going to take the momentum from there.
Gino, I know your focus, of course, is going to be on football. You got the game on Sunday, but you can't focus on football 24/7. The Olympics start, well, they unofficially started today. Are there any Olympic sports that you really like to watch?
Definitely basketball for sure. Definitely I'm a big fan in that. I'm trying to think. Definitely the track and field. I'm definitely going to check out the track and field for sure.
Did you do track in high school?
I did not do track in high school. Actually, I wish I did, but in high school, I never realized that it was also like individual. I always played basketball and football, so I was so used to team sports.
Yeah.
That like my high school team used to lose a lot, and I just was like, I don't want to be on a losing team. But individually, we had guys that were actually good and used to go to states and stuff. But I didn't understand it. I didn't even know. I didn't understand the team aspect of track. That was
Well, looking back on it, because most receivers usually are guys who ran track. So I'm a little surprised by that. Well, enjoy the Olympics and best of luck on Sunday as you look to get your first victory of the season and hopefully turn the season in the right direction.
Thanks a lot, man. I appreciate y'all having me on.
You betcha. Good talking again. That's Gino Lewis, victorious at the pizza eating contest for the Gregor Pizza Pickup. So there you go. Quick, and we talked about it. You for the first 4 weeks of the year, Gino Lewis was vastly underused. He's your best big play receiver. And the last few weeks, they've got him more involved, as they should. And that needs to continue, but they have to find a way. You can't have Bethel Thompson, because the Ottawa game they were never out of reach. It wasn't like, oh my God, we can't run the ball because we just have to throw, because we don't know time's against us. Even with a close game, they basically abandoned the run game from the start of the game till the end. They never got the run game going. And that's something that has to change. Now, maybe it can't change till they put Trey Ford in. I don't know. Maybe the threat of Trey Ford running opens up the running attack. I don't know if it'll happen or not. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, at least for him to start the game. And we'll see what happens. Like I thought they would start Trey Ford this weekend. Like at what point, like what has Trey Ford done so bad that I'm missing? Like I don't get it. The total offensive yards better 10 games with Ford than they have been with Bethel Thompson. Wins obviously better. Fewer turnovers from the quarterback. Way better rushing attack. I don't understand what I'm missing here. I don't get it. 5:39. We'll come back, wrap things up. We got lots of texts in our email inbox, 833-401-1440. We'll get to those. And we will update you on, this is a story that is not going to look good for Canadian soccer. We'll tell you about it next.
Rule number 37. Elk Island mosquitoes don't believe in personal space. Keep bug spray ready at all times. Summer in Alberta has its own set of rules. And if you're looking to add a little extra fun, Play Alberta has it all. Use promo code SUMMER to snag a $50 casino bonus for casino, instance, and live dealer with your next deposit. Get ready for promotions throughout the summer to help you make the most of those sunny Alberta days. Because we all know they don't last long enough. Bonus terms and conditions apply.
What a season. What a ride. Congratulations on an incredible season from GS Construction. Whether you're a laborer, pipe layer, or pipe layer's helper, lead hand, operator, top man or woman, or water and sewer foreman, GS Construction has room for you on their team. GS Construction, celebrating 50 years of laying the groundwork of Edmonton and communities throughout Alberta. Let's get to work. Get started today at gsconstruction.ca.
Introducing the Female Super League. Female hockey is on the rise with more women playing the game than ever. Join us as we pave the way for the future of women's hockey. The FSL is more than a game. It's a movement and an experience for the motivated female athlete. Teams will compete in a showcase-style format featuring consistent interprovincial competition. Come be part of the journey as the 2024-25 season unveils a 12U division, as well as the launch of a groundbreaking progressive body-checking 14U division. For more information, visit femalesuperleague.com.
The locks are on a timer. They're going to get out.
Sounds like a job for the men and women of Action Electrical.
Service team reporting. With the remarkable reach of our bucket trucks and other equipment, we assess, service, and maintain your electrical lighting and automation systems.
Facing an electrical menace? Call the men and women of Action. Operating throughout Alberta at actionelectrical.net.
Legacy Heating and Cooling is still the #1 company for families who don't want to see Dad in his underwear. Come on, we warned you about a heat wave a while ago, and lo and behold, here we are. So call Legacy now before the heat wave Steve convinces Dad to cool down in a kiddie pool in your front yard. Yeah, we've still got air conditioners in stock, and yes, you won't have payments or interest for 1 year. Keeping Dad from bathing in public during a heat wave. That's how you save your legacy. Legacy Heating and Cooling.
Employee pricing is on now at Chevrolet. Right now, get up to $10,500 off select Silverado 1500 High Country Crew Cab models. With an available 6.2-liter V8 engine and standard Chevrolet safety assist, including forward collision alert, getting out of the city and having a nice, quiet day on the beach is easier than ever this season. So relaxing. Ask your Chevrolet advisor for details.
Afternoon, Sports 1440. Turn Sports, of course, is coming up next. And here is a story that is, two things. So Andy Petrillo announcing that Soccer Canada has sent Bev Priestman home. She is not going to be a part of the Olympics anymore. And that's probably not a huge one. They announced that they have suspended Bev Priestman after new information came to the organization's attention about the use of drones prior to the 2024 Olympics in Paris. So, and then Westhead says that dating back for quite a while, that both the Canada's men's and women's teams have engaged for years in efforts to film closed-door training sessions of their opponents, including during the women's gold medal winning Olympic tournament in 2021. So not good. They have that their training sessions ahead of games in 2022 involving Costa Rica, South Korea, and Trinidad. The filming also included one training session before a women's national game against Panama in July of 2022. They're attempting to qualify for the Women's World Cup. So this is clearly something that's been ongoing for a while. So now you have two staffers who took the bullet, and people were like, oh my God, what are these staffers doing? And it turns out that guess what? You had people above them. Shocking, who were telling to do it. So obviously the fact that Bev Priestman has, she stood out there yesterday and talked about how, I'm stepping away from one game because I want to do what's right. And this is under my watch and I should know. Well, clearly it's not that you didn't know. It's that clearly you were part in making it happen. That makes her interview yesterday just worse. After this, the fact that they sent her home, suspended her, which you think she's coming back from this? I don't see how. So yeah, that's not good. Like, come on. What are we doing here? It's a closed door session and you're trying to use drones. Like, it's so beyond embarrassing. A lack of confidence in your own organization, a lack of confidence in your own team. And the fact that, now Priestman hasn't been there long enough. So some other people in the organization knew about this and was like, hey, Bev, we've been doing this. Let's keep doing it. Okay, let's keep doing it. But the fact she agreed is she's like, no, we're not doing this. Not good at all.
Jason, did you ever see John Herdman's quote when he was coach of the men's team at the time when there was a drone spotted over Honduras team's practice during the World Cup qualifiers?
Yeah, he said there's lots of people who fly drones.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's that's probably going to come back to bite him, I would think. So, because this is not going to go away quietly. Not at all. I know some people are going to say, hey, you know what? Other people are doing it, so they should do it. No, that's to me, that's never acceptable. It's not. So, yeah, this is this probably isn't going to end well for a lot of people, and nor should it. There's no rhyme or reason for it. I'm trying to wrap my head around what's the reason why. Even if you tell me that other nations have done it, I don't care. I don't care. Like, so what? They did it. Doesn't mean you have to do it. Right? Stupid is as stupid does. And 2 wrongs don't make a right. There's no reason to do it. 0, zilch, none. And now many people are likely going to pay the price for this. And, we'll see what happens. But this just worse. I don't know, the worst possible time is at the Olympics. You know what? It's one sport. It does not reflect all the sports. Let's be abundantly clear about that. It's one sport, and there's lots of great athletes. My question is going to come down to, how are the players going to feel? Because if they truly didn't know their coaching staff was doing this, they're going to feel like, A, you didn't believe in us that much, and B, that's pretty pathetic. There's certain things, and people say, hey, you try to get a competitive advantage. Yeah, within certain moral rules, right? You have to have it, and at least from where I stand. Like, there's no, you want to win, but not at any cost that just ruins your moral standing in fiber to say, well, hey, you know what? We can cheat our way through it, right? Like, there's got to be some. And if it's been ongoing for a while, they felt like, hey, we can keep getting away with it. And that's what happens. You get away with something once, and then you think, hey, we can do it again. We're all guilty of it. Right? Younger in my life, I did some stupid things a few times, 100%. Looking back on it, be like, what an idiot. So, yeah, but nothing like this. Like, I always try to tell my son, if you're going to make mistakes, we all make mistakes. Try to keep them in like the 4 to 5 range. You don't want to have 9s and 10s. Now, a 9 mistake every now and then can be a good learning curve, as long as it's not something that hurts or damages somebody else. Right? Sometimes you can learn it. So, hey guys, the players are watching film. How don't they know as well? Well, it depends. So if you get the drone footage right now, maybe what they do is they take the drone footage and they say, oh, look, they're doing this here, there. Then they'll go and find it in a game to try to highlight it, to say, in the game, see here, they were always doing this, right? That's how you could break it up in film, right? Like, I don't see many surprise, moves, or, hey, they like to break the ball coming up the right side, coming up the left side. Like, anybody who plays soccer, there's not that much serious stuff. They might say, hey, guys, look for them in here, and they would go back through the film and see if they ever tried it in a game once, and maybe it was something they didn't notice, right? Maybe all of a sudden a team is like, hey, we've tried this where, we want to cut across the middle and we're going to cut it back high, and all of a sudden they watch the drone practice and they're trying the same play over and over that maybe they only ever used once in a game. That would be how I would see it, because there is a quote here from one of the former members of I got to find it here from the exact quote from a former team member, Amy Walsh. I feel sick to my stomach, genuinely nauseated. There's a certain amount of blind trust players have that the coaches are doing the right things the right way, and this is the ultimate betrayal, from Amy Walsh. So there you go. She's now an analyst on TSN 690. Former Olympian. So, yeah, this story won't be going away anytime soon. But I will say this. If anybody tries to do it, like Priestman yesterday came out and put on this big, strong, you know what? I got to take responsibility. And, it's under my watch. I should know. And then they come out today and they suspend her because they found new out. Because I'm guaranteeing somebody watched her interview and said, hey, wait a sec. She knew what was going on. Don't try to pretend she didn't. And that's how you get screwed over. So Hey, guys, how long until someone tries to blame Canada's soccer business? But how can you blame them? Right? You can say, well, if you don't do it, you'll lose your job. Then I guess you have the courage as the coach to come out and say, hey, guess what? I was asked to do this. I said I'm not doing it. Who do you think is going to support you? People always will support the truth. You learn it as in life. You know, your parents will tell, I'm more disappointed in you that you lied than if you did something wrong. Right? Something wrong you can learn from. Lying, you know you're not supposed to do. Well, that wraps up a busy Thursday edition. Tomorrow, opening ceremonies. Kind of curious to see what they have for that. I always like watching the opening ceremonies. Pretty fun event and brings together lots of different things. So that's always cool. We'll set up a few of the must-watch Olympic events for you with some Canadians who have a chance to get on the podium on the weekend. Also, we will talk more about some the free agent signings. Some rumblings about some other ones coming, like Marty Nachas in Colorado. What's he going to get? We'll get to all that and more. On behalf of Declan Kruger, I'm Jason Gregor. Let's get to a Sports 1440 update brought to you by Ewell. Time to load up with the top line and score in the power play with Ewell. They're your star supplier for quality electrical gear in Edmonton and Alberta. Order online anytime at ewel.ca. Good night.
This is a Sports 1440 update.
We start with a piece of breaking news for the Sports 1440 update as Bev Priestman has been removed from the Canadian women's national soccer team for the remainder of the 2024 Paris Olympics. She has been dismissed by the Canadian Olympic Committee, and Andy Spence, one of the assistants, will remain on as the head coach. Scores from the Olympics in women's soccer earlier today was Spain over Japan 2-1, Brazil over Nigeria 1-0, Germany over Australia 3-0, United States over Zambia by the same score, France over Colombia 3-2, and of course Canada winning 2-1 over New Zealand in their first Group A match. A piece of history today for the San Diego Padres is Dylan Cease recorded just the second no-hitter in franchise history, joining Joe Musgrove. In the 9 innings pitched, Cease had 9 strikeouts and only 3 walks en route to a 3-0 San Diego Padres victory over the Nationals. Other scores today in the MLB saw the Dodgers beating the Giants 6-4, the Rangers in a close one over the White Sox 2-1, Tigers blanking the Guardians 3-0, Orioles over the Marlins 7-6 in extras, and the Toronto Blue Jays falling 13-0 against the Tampa Bay Rays with 16 hits surrendered. One game in action right now sees the Braves leading the Mets 1-0 at the bottom of the third. The only other game in the MLB today will see the Athletics and Angels just after 7:30. Edmonton Elks news is quarterback McLeod Bethel-Thompson has been fined by the league for comments regarding the CFL's scheduling. Now, per league policy, the fine amount has not been disclosed. CFL Week 8 action getting going tonight. Saskatchewan and Montreal currently tied 3-3 with 5.5 left to go in the first quarter. Both teams without their day one starting quarterbacks in this one. Shea Patterson's taking the snaps for the Rough Riders, while Caleb Evans taking the snaps for the Alouettes. And in the NHL, Travis Konecny signed an 8-year, $70 million extension with the Philadelphia Flyers. That's going to do it for us here on the Jason Gregor Show. Turn Sports is up next. Fox Sports Radio will be by at 9. Kevin Carius and Brandon Douglas will be by at 7 a.m. Donovan Paulson sitting in for Brandon Douglas on that show. On behalf of Jason Gregor, I'm Declan Kruger, and this has been a Sports 1440 update.
It's 1440, a Stingray radio station broadcasting on Treaty 6 territory.
Download the free iHeartRadio app and listen to CKJR wherever you go.
Bringing every project to life requires the right team. By joining the Japa Machinery Group service or sales teams, you can be part of setting a new industry standard. Celebrating a legacy of excellence with Japa. Learn more at japamachinery.com.